young girl, all the other people that got murdered by illegal immigrants. But Kamala does not give a flying
Kamala,
shit.
By the way.
Kamala, whatever.
It's
Kamala.
not whatever. It's Kamala. Now, I think what happened to Laken Riley is tragic, and I think that the perpetrator should be.
And they don't care. And they don't care. And they don't care.
Okay. Do you know who Molly Tibbetts is? Do you know who Molly Tibbetts is?
No, I don't.
You don't know who Molly Tibbetts is? Well, of course you don't, because you only care when somebody's killed by somebody that's undocumented under a Democrat. Under Joe Biden, Molly Tibbetts, a woman from Colorado, was killed by an undocumented migrant, but you guys don't even know her name. You guys don't care. You're only bringing up these people's names for political reasons. You're going around screaming, Laken Riley, Laken Riley, Laken Riley. You're politicizing her death to try to hit the Democrats on something. But when it happens under Donald Trump, you're silent. But you don't even know the name Molly Tibbetts. I say, do you know who this person is? You don't know. My God. By the way, you have to come back on TikTok Live. We can't hear you when you're off. There you go. Now, I think that the perpetrator should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Do you agree? Do you think that the person that they've arrested is guilty?
Wait, hold on. Somebody just made a comment saying I'm racist.
Okay, don't read the comments.
Because I am.
No, just please stop freaking out over the comments.
Not even close to being racist. So you can
stop freaking out over the comments. Just stop freaking out over the comments. You're fine. People say very mean things about me in the comments too. It doesn't matter. So you guys don't even know who Molly Tibbetts is. You don't care about her because it happened under Donald Trump. Now, do you think that the person who was arrested...
Fake news never talked about Molly Tibbetts.
Really? How do you think I found out about it?
How did you find out about it?
By reading it on the news. My God. Now, do you think that the perpetrator who killed Laken Riley, the person that they've arrested, do you think that guy is guilty?
Absolutely.
But he hasn't been convicted yet. Do you think he's guilty?
I do.
Okay, so then why do you think Donald Trump isn't guilty?
Guilty of what?
Of the crimes he's been indicted of.
What crimes?
Stealing classified documents, trying to overturn an election he didn't win. He was convicted already in New York of falsifying business records in the first degree. And then, of course, you have Georgia's case with also trying to overturn the election there. So you're comfortable with saying that the person who killed Laken Riley is guilty without having a trial. But when it comes to Donald Trump, you think he's innocent and that he's being politically persecuted, I assume.
Oh, my God.
It's just hypocrisy. It's just utter hypocrisy. You don't believe in due process or you do. It's like with Donald Trump, you're like, well, due process. When it comes to an undocumented migrant, you say, oh, they're guilty automatically.
I'll tell you right now, I do not feel safe in this country.
You should feel safe.
I don't.
Crime has gone down every single year in the Biden presidency. Every single year.
Get out of here. What world do you live in? Have you walked through New York City?
The FBI.
Have you walked through New York City?
Yes, I have. The FBI is reporting this data every single quarter. And every single quarter, every single year, it's gone down. And especially in the major cities. Crime in New York City has gone down dramatically in recent years. Thank you for the subscription. I appreciate you. Venmo, Cash App in the link in the bio, by the way. Sorry. You have to come back to TikTok Live. We can't hear you. Jessica, thank you for the $5 on Venmo. Voted blue down the ballot in Florida today. I love that. So glad to hear that. You have to come back to TikTok. We can't hear you when you're off the app.
I'm looking up something. I'll be right back. 2 seconds.
Okay, go ahead. Bonetta, thank you for the $1. I'm the oldest of 7. I'm not sure why the guest is talking about, or what the guest is talking about, or maybe she needs to shop somewhere else, because to feed all of my kids tacos with my parents, it does not cost that much. I'm saying, exactly. Justin, thank you for the $2. Thank you for turning me on to pickles. Still love you though. No problem, Justin. I appreciate the $2. Venmo, Cash App in the link in the bio if you want to support the live. He's looking something up.
Explain this to me then. Hold on. Am I allowed to post on here?
I don't think you can.
No. All right. I'll post later.
What are you trying to post?
Just a list of people that are all corrupt.
What? What list of people?
I'll leave and I'll post it. I'll show you.
What is this? What is this meant to prove?
To show you how they're all intertwined. They're all
Oh, this is gonna be some
I'm
crazy
done.
shit.
It's time for me to leave. I'm out.
Okay. All right. You have a good one.
You too.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. Jeez Louise. That whatever list she was about to show is about to be the craziest list ever. About to be the most ridiculous thing you've ever seen in your entire life. I'm calling it early. Late girl's worst listener tonight, says Carrie. Yeah, I don't doubt that. Let's bring up Chris. He says he's MAGA. Let's give him a shot. Remember, only request up if you are MAGA. We're only looking for some debates this evening. Hello, Chris.
Hey, good evening, Harry.
How are you, man?
Doing good. Hey, I watched a podcast today. Well, I watched two of them that I'd like to ask you some questions about and get your opinion. So I watched one that was kind of interesting about every election going back like 50 years about the October surprises. And the ones that just recently came up about some things that Trump said in the Oval Office, about the Gehan girl in Texas that was killed, and there's people that are coming out against that. How do you feel about that? Because I have a hard time believing that the general that is coming out and saying those things when everybody else is disputing it.
Well, just to be clear, all the people disputing it are like Trump loyalists.
And he's somebody who hates Trump, so it's one of those.
But he's not somebody that hates. But here's the thing: he's not somebody that hates Trump. He loves this country. John Kelly served in our military for 4 decades. He's a 4-star general, retired, served in the Pentagon, in the Defense Department, and served as chief of staff for Donald Trump. He also lost his son in combat. This is no Democrat. This is a lifelong Republican as well. This is no traitor to the country. This is somebody who loves our country. And when he's saying something, we should listen to him. And he's saying that he himself heard Donald Trump say these things. He was there, heard it with his own ears, and that's significant. Donald Trump has all the incentive to lie. John Kelly has no incentive to lie. And I don't think that a man who has dedicated his life to this country would lie like that.
I would tend to agree most of the time. I have a hard time believing that the late introduction to it, these things have, we've had years of this for him to say those things or for those things to be leaked. And why now?
So a lot of these things John Kelly has said before, like, for example, John Kelly previously, even like, years ago, confirmed that Donald Trump called fallen American soldiers losers and suckers. He's talked about Donald Trump's affinity for generals during World War II, specifically from Germany. He's talked about this before previously. This is not exactly new, but some of these revelations are new. And the reason why some of these are new is because The Atlantic only recently did an interview with him. And he's only recently spoken, quote unquote, on the record. Well, I shouldn't say on the record because he spoke on the record previously. He spoke on audio recently about this stuff. So that's why some of this is new, but a lot of this has also been in the public knowledge for some time.
And I agree that there are some things. I have a hard time believing that, he's the only one. There's nobody else that's backing this up. And I do think that Trump, I think he's an asshole. I think he's done a lot of shitty things in his life. And I don't think that either one of our candidates are the pinnacle of either one of our parties. I'll move on to the next part.
Before you do that, I remembered this while you were talking, but 13 ex-Trump aides backed Kelly's dictator warning and his accusations against Donald Trump. 13 former Trump, this is from the New York Times, 13 former Trump administration officials released an open letter on Friday amplifying warnings from John F. Kelly, Donald Trump's longest serving White House chief of staff, that the former president would rule like a dictator if he returned to office. The former officials wrote that they were shocked but not surprised after Mr. Kelly, a former Marine general, told the New York Times that Mr. Trump had said more than once that, Mustache Man from World War II did some good things and had complained that U.S. generals were not sufficiently loyal to him. So there are other Trump officials actually backing up John Kelly in this, who, of course, they also worked with him.
Okay. When it's been stated over and over, and she continues to state that she has prosecuted transnational drug cartels and a few things like that. And I watched a podcast today that went back to when she was going to be the district attorney, and news footage back then where she continued to say, these things, and they came out and showed her record, being very minimal, 20 or 30 cases over her entire career. And that was something that kind of hits me hard. Because like you're saying, like, oh, she's been in the courtroom and stuff like that, but that's being disputed and being proven to be not true.
I don't know what podcast you're listening to where they're saying that her record when it comes to being a prosecutor is not true, but she's absolutely been in the courtroom prosecuting folks like this. We have plenty of stories of people and photos and videos of Kamala Harris talking to victims in all of these different roles when she was district attorney, when she was attorney general. And also a reminder, like an attorney general of the state is not someone who prosecutes every single case. Also, a district attorney is not somebody who they themselves are in the courtroom prosecuting every single case, but they sometimes do. And of course, when they're not district attorney, they may prosecute cases. But in these higher roles that she's held, a district attorney kind of oversees cases, makes big decisions on cases, just as an attorney general does for the entire state. So that's the important context there, that you may not have like hours and hours and hours and hours of footage of her in a courtroom. Well, that's because she was in much higher positions than, being the prosecuting attorney in a courtroom. But also, I cannot fathom how that is something you would take issue with. When she has been in these roles, she was elected to these roles. We know that she was in those roles. Donald Trump even donated to her when she was running for attorney general. But then what's Trump's record? What's his career? Screwing over working class people when he was building his buildings and then he wouldn't pay them? Stealing money, defrauding banks, his organization being found guilty of every single tax charge against them. It's like, what? How can you take issue with Kamala Harris's record, but then look at Donald Trump and say, "Well,
I'm not saying that he's squeaky clean or there's not a problem there. My problem is the last minute things. Every election. I probably have more concern with that, and that it's typically coming from the Democrats. I have a problem with that.
I don't understand why you'd have a problem with that, but that's okay. We can disagree on having a problem with that. But then you have to ask yourself, what do you have a problem with more? Like last minute things that apparently Democrats do in your view, which is okay, or Trump being a criminal, committing business fraud, assaulting a woman, being found liable for doing it. He can't operate a charity in New York because he stole money from charities and gave it to his campaign. Trump University paid $25 million settlement because it was a fraud, right? And then as president doing all these horrible things. So what do you think is worse? You thinking, oh, these Democrats kind of maybe in the year closer to an election, they do. Oh, he left. Why did he leave? Thank you for the sub. I appreciate you. He just straight up left. That guy just straight up dipped out. But I'm going to finish the point. What do you think is worse? That or that? Nicole, thank you for the $5. You have the patience of a saint with these people. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for being here. That's very, very kind. Allison, thank you for the $1. Do you think Kamala will win? I'm scared if not. I think it's 50-50, like truly 50-50. Taco Fun from Annabelle. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. That's very kind. Did you dye your hair, Harry? No, I didn't. It's just that the lighting's a little bit different in here. So it looks a little bit, my hair just looks a little bit like lighter than normal. But anyway, we'll move on to the next guest. If you are MAGA, let me know in the chat. Also, drop a follow if you haven't already. Make sure to keep double tapping the screen as well. Let's try to get up to 300,000 likes. If you fill the entire bar, when the like bar comes up, we should be at 300,000 likes in no time. So Venmo Cash App is also in the link in the bio if you want to support the live. It goes an incredibly long way as we are 10 days away from the election. We're getting there. My man, why are you MAGA?
Yo, what's going on, Harry? How are you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Good. Hey, I'm from Colorado. I wouldn't say that I'm necessarily anti-Harris. I tend to put I relate more to Trump.
WJW in the chat, by the way, please. I don't know how many subs he sent, but apparently he sent a bunch. So WJW, I appreciate you. Sorry, continue. WJW.
I like his foreign policy. I like that he wants to keep gas powered and fracking, those sort of things. What's your view on energy, fracking, drilling? Kamala's kind of flip-flopped on those things.
So I would love to talk about Trump's foreign policy in just a second. I want to know what about his foreign policy you like, but when it comes to fracking and fossil fuel, we're currently drilling more oil and producing more right now than ever before in American history, more than the Trump administration, more than any country in the world right now. So I think it's a pretty hard argument to make to say that Kamala Harris is anti-fracking or anti-fossil fuel. And I totally agree that over time, Kamala Harris has had different views on fracking. No doubt.
Right.
She said in 2020, she had one view, and then she evolved on the position. I actually think that is representative of a good leader. I think good leaders actually change their views when they're presented with new information, and they're willing to adapt and evolve. If they're wrong, they'll admit that they're wrong. But I think bad leaders and egotistical leaders kind of dig their heels in the sand. That's something that Donald Trump does, whereas I think Kamala Harris is willing to evolve and change her view if she's wrong. And I think that she was probably incorrect on fracking at the time. I don't think we're there yet. And she is now reflecting that in her policy. And if she got elected president, she would not try to ban fracking, just like they have not tried to ban fracking in the past 4 years.
Right. And I'm not saying necessarily that she's anti-fracking. I'm just saying that my issue is her flip-flopping on it, whereas Trump has been one that's solid on it all the way through. I guess, and also being from Colorado, you know, the Keystone Pipeline, things like that, I might have a biased opinion, but that is one big thing where I would favor Trump over Harris. I also went to his rally in Aurora about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago.
Sorry I had to experience that.
I mean, I don't think it was terrible. I think he made a lot of good points.
Thank you, Maxwell, for subscribing. What good points would those be?
I guess one, the Kamala Harris thing on fracking was one. And like you said, it's not necessarily attacking her being anti-fracking. It's more so the flip-flop on the issues, because you tend to see that with Harris, whereas you don't with Trump.
Well, I agree that Kamala Harris is willing to change her views and Donald Trump is not. Trump will dig his feet in the sand even if he's wrong. He did it with the 2020 election. He's still talking about how 2020 was not fair and that it was stolen from him, which is
right. And to that record, he was still doing that at the rally in Colorado as well. Exactly. Which I don't agree with. I think he rightfully lost that election. I do.
But here's the thing. Trump is talking about the past. Kamala Harris is talking about you and your future. How old are you? You're a young guy, probably, right?
27.
27. So you're the prime demographic that Kamala Harris is trying to target with her policies. She wants to give a tax cut to over 100 million Americans, middle-class, hardworking folks out there who don't have $1 billion, who are just working hard to keep a roof over their head, food on their table, trying to make it easier for you to buy a home and make you economically stable. Whereas Trump, as you even saw with your own eyes, is still talking about an election that he lost and claiming that he didn't. The choice.
Well, and on that note, I was in Parker's live the other day, and he was talking about this too, how Trump's plan is going to accumulate way more debt over the next 4 years than Harris is, correct?
100%.
So how is that applicable when Harris is going to give all this money out to immigrants, to families, to young folks trying to, get a home, start a family, things like that?
Nicole, thank you for the
subscription. That's also going to create tons and tons of debt that I don't think is being accounted for by general voters.
So the way that we know that Donald Trump would increase the debt is because we saw his presidency the first time. And during his presidency, he gave a huge tax cut to the wealthy people and, not a huge tax cut for the middle class. And that ended up having our deficit go up to around $1 trillion the next year. $1 trillion in 1 year in a non-recession year. And overall, in Donald Trump's presidency, he doubled President Biden when it came to 10-year borrowing. So Donald Trump spent more than Joe Biden and ran up the deficit more. And now in 2024, if Trump wins, he's proposing more tax cuts, which reduces our ability to take in revenue, less revenue for the federal government. And he wants to remove taxes on everything, on Social Security, on overtime, on tips. Thank you, JW, for another 16 subs, dude. You're going crazy. And all of that can be good. I agree with the tax cut for a lot of these middle class working folks. But the problem is, how do you pay for it? Donald Trump's just saying, hey, we remove income tax entirely, which then would dramatically reduce our federal revenue. That's one of the main sources that the federal government has for revenue. So if we reduce our revenue and Donald Trump is not proposing a new way in order to make that money back, then our deficit explodes and we have more debt. That's why Goldman Sachs, I believe, had a projection where on the high end of Donald Trump's policies, he would run up the debt by 15 trillion. On the average mid-range, it would be around $8 trillion.
Yeah, that's similar to what I was hearing in Parker's live the other day. I was just curious on that aspect, whereas, I've heard Harris wanting to do these things, and I've heard the no tips on overtime, things like that from Trump. I wondered if there was like a accurate source or somewhere where you can actually get those numbers.
Trump versus Harris. I want to say it was Goldman Sachs. It might have been Penn Wharton. Actually, I was citing the project. It's a committee for a responsible federal budget. This is a nonpartisan group. They just basically do economic evaluation. And so for Kamala Harris, they have a graph here. It's kind of like, it's nice. If you just look up the fiscal impact of the Harris and the Trump campaign's plans, it's from, as I mentioned, a committee for a responsible federal budget. For Kamala Harris, on the central kind of average range, they say that her policies would add 3.5 trillion. On the low end, it would be 0. On the high end, it'd be 8.1. But for Donald Trump, on the high end, it would be $15.15 trillion. On the low end, it'd be $1.45 trillion. And in this kind of average mid-range, $7.5 trillion. JW, another 50 subs, where I appreciate it so much. You're killing it. And this is a nonpartisan group. I would highly encourage you look this up and read for yourself. But yeah, so if you're like, I really don't want to... I
appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. If you're like, I really don't want to balloon the deficit, I don't want more debt, I would not vote for Donald Trump at all.
Right on. As far as abortion, what is your view on that?
Pro-choice, 100%.
Right. Is that up until sentience? Is that like, what, can you elaborate? Yeah,
pretty much I agree with like what Roe v. Wade and Casey laid out, which is that, you can't, the federal government doesn't have a quote unquote interest in regulating a state's abortion up until 24 weeks. And that, a state can't regulate a woman's ability to get an abortion up to 24 weeks, which is sentience, or I should say, viability. And then after that fact, then states do have an interest unless they can regulate it. But I also agree with abortion's later term only in the instance of like a medical emergency.
See, this is one where I've struggled because I am a Christian. I come from a Lutheran household. So obviously I pro-life, but I do see a lot of people's points are, like in cases of
what I'd say to you is, it doesn't have to be on my page in particular, but look at my second to last video, or what I'd say is just go watch Michelle Obama's speech today at the Harris event. She really focused on reproductive rights and targeting men in that conversation. And I'll just give you like a quick summary of what she said. She basically said something along the lines of like, look, it could be you one day. You could be, think about your past self. You could have been the 18-year-old guy who was going to go off to college and then got a woman pregnant. And in modern America, you'd have to be a father and you wouldn't be ready to do that. You might be the 25-year-old who wants your wife to get pregnant, and then she does, and then the pregnancy go wrong, and she gets denied medical care and she gets sepsis, and then she might die or lose her ability to be pregnant. Or, God forbid, in the very extreme circumstances, which does happen, you might be the guy standing next to a grave with flowers, wishing that your state just allowed your wife or your fiance, whoever it might be, to get reproductive care. It's like this stuff is really happening. People are dying because of it. And it's perfectly fine for you to be pro-life. You and your own family might say, you know what, I'm just not comfortable with that. But there's no point in regulating other women's bodies because that only leads to worse health outcomes for the entire country. We're already seeing maternal mortality go up. It went up 56% in Texas since Roe v. Wade was overturned. And that's no coincidence. So I'd say you can be pro-life, no problem. You can be pro-life for yourself. That's fine. But if a woman like in California that you don't know wants to get an abortion, I don't see much value in preventing that,
Right. And I think that's one of those issues that nobody's ever going to see eye to eye on it. I just wish that, yes, I do wish that all the states were the same way across the board on it. I wish that women in one state didn't have more rights than another. I don't think that's right. But I also think that it's not right to be getting an abortion late in the term or, for reasons that you shouldn't.
Sure, yeah. And the good news is
reasons that you should, or like unfortunate reasons, yeah, of course, there should be medical care for you and your family to take care of that.
Yeah, and like the good news is that only less than 1% of abortions take place in the third trimester, and all these abortions are for emergency medical reasons. Most people get their abortions in like the first 8 to 10 weeks of them being pregnant. So,
right. As far as border security, like I said, I know I told you I'm in Colorado, so I kind of get a first-hand look at obviously what Trump would say is these people overtaking our cities, which is not true. Don't believe that.
right.
There is a lot of presence of them around, so I think that's worrisome to people, or it's a change, right, that we haven't seen in the past 4 years. So you see this in fluctuation of many people coming across. My thing is, I've heard different numbers from Trump versus Harris. How many of those are actually documented criminals or, coming across the border? What is the problem with, I know Trump likes to say a massive deportation or liberation day.
Yes.
What is wrong with doing that? I realize keeping those people here adds to our GDP. There are benefits to it. But also I see veterans that are homeless on the side of the street, things like that. So I think with getting rid of a lot of these people creates more room for Americans to have those jobs or Americans to have those benefits. What is your take on that?
Yeah, so there's so much I could say here. I'll try to make it as quick as possible. So there's a lot of problems with a mass deportation, as Donald Trump would call it. It's just first from a logistical perspective. Like, how would you do that? How do you fund that? How would somebody go about actually going and deporting 11 million people? Do you break into people's houses, which is unconstitutional, and just hope that they're in there? I mean, who's funding this? How much is this going to cost? It's like logistically, it's a nightmare.
Right. And my problem lies in, how many of these people are actually seeking asylum,
Right.
for the correct reason.
Yes.
And then how many are just coming to take advantage of it. Right.
Right. And so
I've heard people say, yeah, go ahead.
No, if you have something to say, I'll address it all.
I was going to say, I've heard people say that, like if Trump doesn't win, I'm going to move, I'm going to go to Switzerland, I'm going to do this and that. But I mean, my question is, how does that make you any better, right? You're going to be doing the same thing that all these other people coming here are doing, right? Because you don't like the president, you're going to go to a different country and invade their space, right? Like,
right. So, and again, exactly. And then that's, like they're describing the concept of seeking asylum, which is ironic, but I digress. And then once we get into like the whole deportation and what the effect would be on the United States, that would be catastrophic for the country. I mean, a lot of these people are working jobs. They're interacting in their community. A lot of these people have been here for a long time and they've started families here. Their kids are American and their kids play on the soccer team. Maybe they are the coach. And you just rip them out of their communities, rip their families out of the communities, out of their jobs that we will not be able to fill. It's like that would hurt our economy so greatly. It would hurt our federal revenue because a lot of these immigrants do pay taxes. And right now, native-born Americans cannot fill the workforce. Actually, this influx of immigrants has greatly helped us in terms of keeping our economy afloat in recent years because of COVID. And that's one of the reasons why we have the strongest economy in the world right now. There was a Congressional Budget Office projection that over the next 10 years, our federal revenue will increase by $1 trillion and our economy gets $7 trillion bigger because of the influx of migrants. So not only is it logistically a nightmare, it would be devastating for our economy, but also I just think it's immoral. Like, as I just described, like if there's somebody that's been here for 10 years and maybe they stayed on an expired green card, but they're working in their community, they're productive, they're giving back, they haven't even gotten anything such as like a speeding ticket. Why would we deport them? Why would we remove them from their community? Why instead would we not offer them a pathway to citizenship? Because isn't that the type of person we want in the United States?
Right. And that's where my question lies of how many of these people are actually documented criminals? How many are, a negative aspect to society?
And that's the thing. Like the Democrats, if there's somebody out there that's a criminal that's going around assaulting people or taking people's lives, get them out. I don't care. Deport them, prosecute them, putting them in American jail, no problem. But if they're a productive member of society, there's no reason to deport them. But Donald Trump is saying, yeah, let's waste all this money, all these resources, and do something that's just heinous. Just because he wants to. at the end of the day, Trump is making undocumented migrants and migrants generally the butt of his campaign. He's saying that all of our problems is because of them, when in reality, the data does not show that. There's no data that shows that. So yeah, that's why.
One more thing that I would like to touch on is lately the whole rhetoric, the anti-Christian rhetoric about Kamala Harris, right? I don't believe that she's truly anti-Christian, all this stuff that's coming out. But it is kind of concerning to me when she tells Christians at her rally to get lost, or this isn't a place for you. Could you, I don't know, I'd not defend her, but maybe put some insight onto why she would act in such a way?
Yeah, no problem. 100%. So this is something that a lot of Republicans have been talking about recently. And Kamala Harris was not kicking them out because they're religious. They actually started screaming at her that she's a liar. They were screaming anti-abortion comments at her. They were just saying, like, you're lying, and then screaming pro-life things. And then they followed up at the end with a religious statement. So they weren't being kicked out because of the religious statement they made. They were being kicked out because they were, one, interrupting the rally, but also, two, calling her a liar. And saying that she was evil for supporting abortion. And I think that, like, if you flip it on its head, like, for example, if somebody was at Donald Trump's rally and they were claiming that he was evil because he's pro-life and they were calling him a liar, do you think that he would let them stay?
Yeah, it's probably the same view. And I had a wonder if those were Trump supporters or, but I think that is something that's very concerning for people like me and that are Christian or, have that background, because, I mean, that's a pretty bold statement to be telling people like that, get lost. And then I know, again, like you probably...
It wasn't because they were religious. It had nothing to do with their religion. It was the fact that they were interrupting the rally. That's kind of what Trump has made it out to be, right? And maybe in a Trump supporter. Right. Of course he has. Of course he's made it out to be that. But it's not that. And there's like a really great... Are you familiar with a website called Verify This?
Yes.
Any chance? Yeah. So Verify This is great. They do a lot of amazing fact checking. They talked about this. They included the clips and the specific timestamps on the C-SPAN stream of them getting kicked out. And, it had nothing to do with their religion. It was just because they were interrupting the rally. So
cool. Right on, Harry. Well, you cleared up a few of my concerns. So I appreciate your time, and you're great at what you do, man. Keep it up.
Thank you, sir. Hey, I appreciate everything you're doing in your personal life as well. Thanks for coming up and having the conversation. You're welcome back anytime. All right.
Right on. Thanks, Harry. Take care.
All right, man. Have a good one. Have a good night. See, another good guy. I'm telling you, man. Hold on. I'll say what I want to say in just a second. JW, thank you for the $50 on Venmo. You sent like 100 subs as well, and $50 on Venmo. Dude, you're insane, JW. I appreciate it so much. Please fill the chat with some more W's for JW, saying subs and some spare cash. Hope you're well tonight. JW, I'm well, man. I hope you are too. Thank you, brother. Fill the chat with W's for him. He's the go, man. Seriously, I appreciate it so much, my man. Thank you. That's crazy. 50 subs, $50. You're kidding me. Devon, thank you for the $5. Literally just finished the interview. Sister couldn't name a single piece of legislation. Go figure. You did your thing and don't flip. Hey, actually, I just posted a clip for my debate on the Steiny podcast the other day on my page, on my Instagram, and on my YouTube. So if you want to go check out that clip, there's going to be more coming tomorrow and the next day. So that's what they're referencing. But I appreciate you, Devon. Thank you for being back here. You're always here. Jill, thank you for the $5 saying lives. I appreciate it, Jill. Thank you for being here. Sommer, thank you for the $3. About to blast your live at this Halloween party because what's scarier than MAGA? Literally nothing. Sommer, what a great idea. I think everybody at this Halloween party needs to hear why MAGA is crazy. I like the idea. I appreciate you being back here. Lisa, thank you for the $20. Keep up the good work. Enjoy your debates. Lisa, I appreciate that so much. Thank you for being here. I always enjoy when you and many others are here. You guys are great. And Zach, thank you for the $20 on Cash App, my man, saying, getting nervous. Any suggestions on how to help? I'm in Mass, but we'll go to PA if it help. So you definitely can't vote in PA now. The registration is passed, and also you'd have to actually live in Pennsylvania. But in terms of what you can do, man, I just say, hey, take some deep breaths and grab a clipboard and lace up those shoes. If you want to head to Pennsylvania and knock some doors, you can definitely do that. If you want to make some phone calls and phone bank, you can definitely do that. There's so many things you can do going up to election day to make sure that people are getting out to vote or changing people's minds. You can do it. You can be part of it. You can feel good at the end of the day that you did your part. Get out there. Get out there and knock some doors. It's as President Obama would say, grab a clipboard, lace up your shoes, and get out there. I like that. So what I was going to say is that gentleman we just spoke to, a good guy, right? A good guy, might disagree with me on some things, but I think that at the end of the day, there are a lot of good people out there who just disagree, but they're not Trump supporters. I really fundamentally believe that they're not Trump supporters. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you talk to them more, I really think that they're not Trump supporters. I truly in my heart, I believe that. What's up, Dominic? Wait, Venmo, Cash App in the link in the bio, by the way, if you want to support the live. Drop a follow if you haven't already. Also, double tap the screen. Let's try to get up to 500,000 likes. Dominic, my man, why are you MAGA?
Well, I'm not necessarily.
Wait, how old are you?
I'm 18.
What year were you born?
2004.
Math ain't mathin', cuzzo. Math ain't mathin'. The math ain't mathin'. It's just not. It ain't mathin'. It ain't mathin'. Sarah says she's MAGA. We'll send her an invite. Chris is here. Maybe. Oh, what a terrible surprise. I mean, what a horrible surprise. It's terrible that this guy is already up here. I mean, what a disgrace. If you're MAGA, let me know in the chat. For You Love says she voted yesterday. Fantastic. You are amazing. What am I trying to say? Oh, look at this guy. Chicago Joe wearing a MAGA hat. I got to invite this guy up here. What a terrible surprise. You scared to debate me, says Jade. Jade, we'll get you up next time. Hello? Hello, bro. Chicago Joe, bro. Hello, bro. You got to come back on TikTok Live for us to hear you. Hello?
I hear you.
Yeah, why you MAGA, bro?
What you mean? Trump's the greatest president of my lifetime, bro. Why not?
Okay. Can you name 5 policies that he got passed through Congress?
Yes, I can.
Go for it.
All right. So, first of all,
you got to come back to TikTok Live. You can't go on Google and speak. But we can't hear you, dude. Come back. No, you have to be on TikTok, man. You have to be on TikTok. Oh, hello. Yo, JW, another 50 gifted subs, bro. You're going insane, bro. What the hell, dude? JW, I appreciate you. Yo, Chicago Joe, you got to be on TikTok Live, man. We cannot hear you right now. You have to come back to the app. I don't know why this is so difficult. Are you still here? He left. All right, if you're MAGA in the chat, let me know.
It's because
JW, I appreciate the 50 subs, brother. Holy moly,
JW went
dude.
insane earlier in my live. Huge W's for JW. Also, yeah, it's because he couldn't name 5 policies. And this dog's not supposed to be down here. No. Come on. Oh my, don't pee. Why are you peeing, bro?
Okay, while he does that, Venmo, Cash App in the link in the bio if you want to support the live. Also drop a follow if you haven't already. We do these lives all the time. 10 days left until the election. We're trying to convince every single voter, reach as many people as we possibly can. Also double tap the screen. Let's try to get to 500,000 likes. And again, thank you, JW. All the subs are popping up on the screen. FB or F8, I can't really see from here. FB1, why you MAGA? Can't hear you, bro. You got to move your phone close to your face. And he left. Nice. Okay.
Yeah. How's your day today, man? I heard it was actually, I don't know if I should say that. How's your day? How's lunch? Fondue?
It was good. It was good, man. It was good. It was can't complain.
I'd be complaining if I was hanging out with
By the way, I just love that there was a person in the chat who their entire bio is filled with being MAGA, that they love Donald Trump.
Mike, that's right, Mail Mowers.
And now they're refusing to come up.
Not surprising.
Refusing to come up. You goddamn coward.
Not
Alice says
surprising.
she already voted. She voted for Kamala. I goddamn love that, man. You're scared of the 6. You're scared of the 6.
If you haven't followed Harry around on Snapchat, my Snapchat's Chris D. Maury. Same as my username. Harry's is Harry J. Sisson. Same as
Harry J.
username.
Sisson on Snapchat.
You guys should go check it out.
Hello.
Yeah, how old are you?
I am 40.
Oh, okay. JW, thank you for the gift sub. Why you MAGA, man? I saw you were in the chat saying you're supporting Trump.
Because Trump is amazing.
Okay, why?
Why? Did you not see the 4 years he was in?
I did.
Have you not seen the last 4 years?
I haven't. They've been great.
Yeah? What? What's great? The prices of groceries, the prices of cars, the prices of houses, the taxes that are way through the roof. Oh,
Wait,
yeah,
you know-
way
you-
better off.
wait, you're saying that
way better off.
He's going to fall for it. So you're saying your taxes have gone up under Joe Biden?
Absolutely, 1,000%. I never had to pay before. This is the first time I've ever had to pay for taxes.
We're still under Donald Trump's tax
So
plan.
there you go.
We're still under Donald Trump's tax plan.
Then why did I not have to pay for taxes then, but I have to pay now?
Nice.
Buddy, we are still under Donald Trump's tax plan. It doesn't expire till 2027.
Go fuck yourself.
Dog, you're freaking out.
How are you so
Doug,
angry already?
Doug,
How are you so angry already?
Doug, do me a favor, champ. Relax. What Harry's trying to say is that the whole point of Trump's tax plan is that like middle class Americans that shouldn't have to pay are paying, and part of that is setting it.
You
now.
guys are just stupid. You don't realize.
Okay,
You're too
well,
young to realize what's going on.
So
here.
wait, Doug, just out of
hold on.
curiosity,
This country is screwed.
when do you think that Donald
Thanks to
Trump's tax plan
Biden
expires?
screwed this country. And Kamala is just going to continue it. And apparently you're okay with that.
Doug, are you interested in having a conversation? Or are you interested in airing out your grievances? This is not a therapy session, okay? We're not therapists. So when do you think Donald Trump's tax plan expires then?
Well, then I don't know.
Okay, exactly.
Apparently you know more than me because you apparently know everything.
I guess so. Part of it expires in 2025 and all of it expires by 2027. And I'm not sure if you're aware, but the year is 2024. So if you're complaining about your taxes going up, this is not something to take up with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. This is something to take up with the guy you're voting for, the guy you're praising.
Well, it was
the guy you're
okay
kissing
when freaking
at
Trump
the
was
ring.
in, is all I'm saying. So what's that?
So
was that Obama then?
as Chris was trying to describe to you, go ahead, Chris, say it again.
Yeah, so like, I think you're just struggling with like any notion, any concept of cause and effect. So, yeah.
You're 40. You're 40.
Wow, what a joke you
You're
guys
40.
are.
You're 40.
What a joke.
You're 40. Start acting like it, please. This is
Start
really
acting like a fucking adult because you don't.
Bro,
we are not the ones screaming on TikTok live right now. You are screaming on TikTok live, mocking my friend.
Champ,
what?
buddy, Doug, I need you to take a breather. All right, just take one deep
You
breath.
guys are like 10.
Can you take a fucking breather? Can you relax? Just like, holy shit.
This is.
If we're 10 years old, it should be easier to have a conversation with us than this. Do you have kids?
No, my wife can't get pregnant.
Okay, well, I'm sorry to hear that. Okay, just take a breather for just a sec. What I was trying to say is that under Donald Trump's tax plan, your taxes may have been lower initially, but as they phase up, you're paying more in taxes, which is part of the reason we say that like Donald Trump's tax plan really hurt the middle class more than and benefited billionaires, but also like in general conversation about the economy.
I'm not a billionaire, so I'm
okay.
That's the point. That's the
broke as crap, man.
That's the entire point.
That's the point, right? So like if again cause and effect.
But I benefited from Trump and not from this
Okay,
administration.
but Doug, are you paying more in taxes now? Because you just said you're paying an outrageous amount for taxes.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's because of Donald Trump's tax plan.
Okay.
Okay, so
I don't believe you, but okay.
Okay, so
Sorry, I
don't know how that makes any sense. It doesn't make any sense.
because it's a 10-year plan, Doug. He signed it in 2017.
Yeah,
and it expires
Biden got
over
rid of
10 years.
every single thing Trump did
all right,
his first day in office.
Relax. Donald Trump's tax plan is still in effect. I mean, again, facts. Don't care about your feelings. You can.
Biden threw everything out that
Okay,
Trump did
dude,
his
can
first
you
day in
fucking
office.
relax?
Did you not see him
Doug,
sign
Doug,
all those rules?
Let's try to have a conversation. So how about this? Can you name? Because again, cause and effect is something you cannot do because you have an emotional intelligence of like a 4-year-old. Can you please tell me a Trump piece of legislation he passed through Congress focused on the economy that you liked?
Don't go Google now, Doug. We can see when you go
Okay.
off the app. Come here. No, Doug, come back.
Oh, he's gone.
I'm
back.
trying to figure out how to block you because I'm all done with this.
Can you name
You're trying to figure out how to block us?
Can you figure out a
Yes.
piece of Trump? Can you name a piece of Trump legislation?
That's dope.
Doug, if you're 40 years old and you can't have conversations with people you disagree with, man, you're in for the long haul here, buddy.
This is
No,
that's
because
a
you
tough-
guys are unbelievable. You don't,
dude. All we've
you don't
done
know
is
the
ask you
facts.
Dude,
Doug, we're
and you
asking
think you do and you don't.
We're asking you a simple. First of all, we've talked about one thing thus far, and you even acknowledge yourself you don't know when Trump's tax plan expires.
This guy is
Right?
This guy is
So maybe
literally losing his mind.
and maybe accept that there are people that are younger than you that know more about certain topics. Like there's people younger than Chris and I who know more about chess.
There's
right?
a 17-year-old right now in college football who's like, fucking, I want to be him. So,
Yeah, there's a 17-year-old in college football who knows way more about football than either Chris or I. Plays for Alabama. He's super sick. So just maybe understand that might be the case. That we might know more about this stuff than you do. So just out of curiosity, you say Trump's the greatest president ever. Can you name a policy that he influenced to get passed while he was president that made the economy better?
Not a policy, no.
Okay. So
Okay. Can you name any policy that he influenced to get passed by Congress?
I just know everything was cheaper when he was in office.
okay, so again, so this is what we call basic correlation without causation. This is what I was trying to get to before you like freaked out. So again, like you've made a correlation to things were cheaper. Donald Trump was in office. Things are more expensive. Biden and Harris are in office, but you do not have the cause. And that's really important. So like we would argue that Trump really wasn't the cause of any of that. The inflation from the Biden Harris administration, all the economic data would support the fact that it was caused by supply and demand issues. And actually Biden and Harris passed more like fiscal legislation and did more for the economy than like any administration in 5 decades.
Yo, okay.
You can't just say, yeah, okay, and then like dismiss what he's saying. Like, do you have like a rebuttal to that, or are you just any comment? Like, let me ask you about can I ask you about a couple policies and maybe we can see if we agree? Does that sound okay? Or are you still trying to figure out how to block us? Is this like an ongoing thing? Doug, we can still hear you.
Doug,
So
does your wife like enjoy your presence, or does she like have a boyfriend?
She agrees with me 100%.
Well, does she have a boyfriend she sees on the side? Because this conversation has been absolutely insufferable, and I'm 22 years old. Please give me something better. Please. I'm freaking losing my mind here, dude. Like, I want to have a conversation with you. You seem like a decent guy. I understand you're struggling. Like, a lot of people are struggling in this economy, but we're just like, you're getting so angry. I just don't feel like that's necessary.
So Doug, can I ask you about is this guy really having this much trouble trying to block us? Doug, can I ask you about, can you come back to TikTok and I can ask you about some policies that we might be able to agree on? This is actually unbelievable.
I probably shouldn't have said that. I'll go ahead and apologize to Chad. I'll apologize to Chad as well. That was not appropriate to me. That was rude. That was not considerate. I apologize. Oh yeah, that was rude. I shouldn't have said that. You can come back to the app and have a conversation. I'm going to take that one on the chin. That was not appropriate, Doug. I shouldn't have said that, but I do want to conversate with you, and it's becoming difficult.
And then he left.
Okay. All right. Well,
That was genuinely the most outrageous person I've interacted with on TikTok. Like, that was a 40-year-old man. And Chris would be like, yeah, so like, why do you like Trump? He'd be like, yeah, why do you like Trump? We're like, what?
he got so angry. He's like, you guys are impossible to talk to. I'm like, bro, I haven't said anything. I just keep
Bro,
asking
I really
you
don't think it's
questions.
us, bro. I really don't think we're the difficult ones to
We
talk
were
to.
just
man.
asking questions. Yeah, bro.
All right, if you're
I really hit him with that, bro. That was.
Wait, why is this person back? This person's a North Carolina voter. I just got to understand why they're
That was
back.
bad. That was really bad.
Okay, maybe they're not actually back. All right, it's that big country.
I was nice in my life today. I'm gonna be nice.
Daisy, thank you for the $2. Happy Friday and $1 live fee. I love you, cutie. Daisy, I appreciate you so much. You're awesome. You're always here supporting the live.
WD.
And an extra $1 for saying Friday when it's Saturday. Did I say it was Friday? Oh no, you said it was Friday. Good. Yeah. Okay, good. Gotcha. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you for being here. Raul, thank you for the $5. Republicans that are on the fence with a heart, just vote your conscience. Your vote is private. Exactly. I like that, Raul. Spot on, my man. Venmo Cash App in the link in my bio if you want to support the live. Drop a follow if you haven't already. Double tap the screen. Let's try to get to 600,000 likes. Fill up that entire bar. Big country, my man. Why? Why are you MAGA?
Okay, I got to admit, I'm not. I'm just a big fan of you, and I figured I would get your attention.
Hey, bro, I'm a big fan of you too, man. I appreciate the support.
I actually voted for Biden. I'm 25, so this will only be my second time. I turned 25
Gotcha.
Tuesday, actually.
I love it.
Happy early birthday, man.
But yeah, I voted for Biden, and I'm voting for Kamala. But
Fuck yeah.
I just figured it would be a way to get your attention if I flooded the comment with MAGA.
Well,
You and Dean honestly got me into wanting to debate people on these lives, to be honest.
Dude, that's awesome. Well, hey, thanks for being involved, making your voice heard, man. Debate changes minds, it changes hearts. So you're doing your part, and I appreciate that a lot.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, man, absolutely. So listen, I'll drop you down. I appreciate the support. Means the world to me, and keep fighting. All right.
For real. Just had to say what's up.
Yes, sir. I love that. I appreciate that a lot, man. Thanks. Have a good one. All right.
You too, man.
Thanks, man. Be safe. Guys,
nice
double tap the screen. If you haven't followed Harry above, you should. And go check out his most recent YouTube video. It's link in the bio.
Also follow Chris and I on Snapchat. It's the exact same as our usernames. Chris D. Mowry on Snapchat, Harry J. System on Snapchat. We post on there. It's fun. Venmo Cash App in the link in the bio as well. Jade, hello.
Hi, I just wanted to come up here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, how old are you?
I am 23 and I was born in 2001. So I just want to say that I'm a big fan of you. I've been wanting to come up here so bad. Like it's been like almost a month. I've been trying to come up here and say that I love you and you are amazing. You, Chris, Parker, Dean, everybody. I don't
so
know
kind. We appreciate that.
Yeah, I love you guys so much. So
Jade, thank you. We appreciate that. It's very kind. Thank you for saying that.
I think from the bottom of my heart and Harry's as well, it truly like means a lot. You rock, seriously.
Yeah, seriously.
That's why I was like, Harry's scared to debate me. So I'm like, okay, he's gonna really put me up here.
Yeah, you know when somebody says that, I'm like, damn, I gotta like.
He's like, I gotta know what's up.
I gotta know what's up. I gotta know why this person's talking so much. But this is way better than one of those freaks. I appreciate you, Jade.
Oh, I appreciate you too. Thank you. I'm gonna drop down.
Have a good one.
Be safe,
I appreciate
Jade. Thank you so much. WJ in the chat. We are looking at the moment for Real MAGA. They're scared tonight. I was struggling for a bit in my live with even a good amount of people, but there's no hate at all. Like, Jade, you're absolutely incredible. We love you. Thank you so much. Like, truly means the absolute
Jade.
Brings a smile to our face.
Megan, thank you for the $5 for dealing with Doug, the most difficult adult I've ever had to deal with. I mean, it's like,
oh man,
it's like everything we'd said, you go like, yeah, right. We're like, what?
That was definitely a thing. That was a thing.
Yeah. Adrian, my man, why are you MAGA?
Yo, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. I don't know. Personally, I just from the first. So we all saw how it was with Trump. I feel like the war's going down. Pretty much, there was not a lot of new wars. And just no new conflicts. That's what I really liked. I also like his stance on abortion. And I'm not saying Trump is a great guy or anything. I agree more with him than I do with Kamala.
I disagree. I don't think you do. And we're going to get to like how you don't in a second. But I don't think you actually agree with Donald Trump more. I think you agree with like the person you've made Trump to be in your head, but when it comes down to policy, I don't think you'll agree with him. So let's start with foreign policy. No new wars started directly with the United States being involved, but also no new wars started directly with the United States being involved in terms of troops under Joe Biden. Matter of fact, for the first time this century, we are not in a war. The United States is not at war. For the first time in our lives, mine and Chris's lives, we are not in war because Joe Biden ended the war in Afghanistan under his presidency. Less American troops have died abroad under Joe Biden than they have under Donald Trump. Donald Trump increased drone strikes 450% in his presidency. Thousands of innocent people died. In Afghanistan, innocent civilian deaths went up by 330%. Donald Trump even himself talked about how he dropped the, quote, mother of all bombs on Afghanistan. That doesn't sound like a very peaceful person to me. And if we have more American troops dying under Trump, that also doesn't sound very peaceful to me either. So Trump has made people believe that he's anti-war, but you can't claim to be anti-war if you have 450% increase in drone strikes in Syria and Iraq and Afghanistan, in Yemen, and all of these different countries. So Trump is not anti-war, whereas Joe Biden has virtually ended the drone war.
Right. So, first of all, the way they, I don't really agree with the way Joe Biden pulled out of Iran.
Afghanistan,
yeah. I don't really agree. I feel like it was. I don't think. I think it was unpatriotic the way he pulled out. It's kind of
Well,
like that. I don't think we should have put out. We left a lot of people. I remember seeing videos on the internet of like a bunch of people in Afghanistan jumping on planes and shit and like falling off of them because they were overpacked like that. Because the U.S. was leaving, and I mean that's pretty much the protection the people had over there too.
So, fun fact: Joe Biden did not put in place the plan to leave Afghanistan. You know who did?
Oh, you
Donald Trump. Donald Trump. He signed the Doha Accords with the Taliban in February of 2020, and that was the agreement to get us out of Afghanistan. And that plan has been criticized by Donald Trump's own advisors, such as H.R. McMaster, who worked in the national security part of Donald Trump's administration. And it was also criticized by the Inspector General of the United States, who's nonpartisan. They did an entire investigation and review of our time in Afghanistan, quite literally from start to finish. And one of the main reasons they said, and they concluded as part of their investigation as to why the withdrawal was messy, was because of the Doha Accords. It was because we gave the Taliban a timeline, an exact timeline as to how we were getting out of Afghanistan, when we were getting Afghanistan, when and where troops would be. It was really bad. So if you're unhappy with the way that Afghanistan went, well, then I would also take that up with Donald Trump, who left Biden a bad plan that he had to follow. Because if he didn't follow it, he would have had to deploy tens of thousands of American troops back to Afghanistan to protect American troops following the conclusion of the ceasefire that was agreed upon.
Wait, so Trump is the one that started the retreat, I guess?
Correct.
Wow.
And when I would, and again, you don't have to take my word for it. Just look up the Doha Accords. It's spelled DOHA, and then Accords, ACCORDS. Again, signed by the United States and the Taliban in February of 2020. You don't have to take my word for it. I would highly recommend you go read about this stuff because, yes, Trump initiated the withdrawal from Afghanistan.
I had no idea about that. Mm-hmm. But I mean, moving on from topics. I mean, yeah, it's kind of crazy that does put some points down on Trump in, well, my book, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I saw the, what's it called? The interview with Fox News. I honestly don't think it went that great for Kamala. Or Harris. I don't think it went that well for her. It was just so much. The dude, the interviewer, he was asking questions, a lot of them, and Kamala wasn't really answering them. As in, he asked one question about economics. He asked her what her plans were, and she kind of just rambled. I mean, she was talking, but she didn't really answer the question, and it went on for a minute.
I mean, so I disagree. I think the interview went well for Kamala Harris. I think that she answered all these questions, but I think you also have to keep in mind the environment that she was in. It was a very hostile environment. She was being interrupted constantly. And I think it's very difficult to answer questions in depth and give specifics if you're being interrupted by the moderator. And I also just want you to take a look at the optics and consider this for the president of the United States. Kamala Harris willingly stepped into enemy territory, per se, right? Which is a conservative news outlet. She willingly sat down with Fox News, knowing that the interview was not going to be light. This was not going to be a softball interview. Whereas Donald Trump has dropped out of virtually every single interview that hasn't been with somebody that's favorable to him. I actually don't remember the last time Donald Trump sat for an interview when the interviewer was not somebody that likes him already. So Kamala Harris is willing to reach out to the other side. She's willing to go to any network and do an interview. Donald Trump is only willing to stay on his side. And I think only staying on your side when it comes to interviews and hard questions is a really bad quality to have in the president of the United States. The president should be able to go talk to anyone, anywhere, not hide in their little bubble.
That's true. That's true. But if you look back to the when Trump was president, I mean, he had various meetings with Putin, and I forgot the name of the Chinese president.
President Xi?
Yeah, him. There. I mean, he was there. He was friendly. There was pictures of him doing handshakes and stuff with them. I don't think that if Kamala was in the same situation, I don't think she'd put herself in that situation. You know, I don't think she'd go the same way Trump did.
Look, I disagree. Kamala Harris has met with a bunch of world leaders in the past 4 years, but think about what Trump accomplished with these leaders. So, for example, when he met with Putin in 2018 in Helsinki, he said that he trusts Putin more than our own intelligence community. Right? That's an insane thing for the president of the United States to say. Trump also rolled over when the FBI and our intelligence community confirmed that they interfered in our elections. This was something that Democrats and Republicans in the Senate agreed upon in an over 1,000-page report. Did Donald Trump take action against Russia for doing that? No. President Obama did when he was still president. Donald Trump took no action. Matter of fact, allowed it to happen and just didn't do anything about it. He rolled over a lot when it came to Russia. And when it came to China, he had a whole trade war with them that screwed over American farmers because he wanted to praise his little ego. And it ended up leading to 300,000 farm jobs leaving and billions of dollars in taxes for the American people. Really devastating stuff. And when it came to countries like, North Korea, for example, he didn't handle Kim Jong-un well. He was still threatening us with missiles and still working on his nuclear program and his missile program generally. And our relationship with North Korea didn't change. It didn't get any more positive. But he did confirm that they wrote love letters to each other, which I thought was particularly strange. Whereas Kamala Harris is someone who's saying, hey, let's get to business. Let's stop with all this crap. Let's stop with the chaos. Let's have real people, really competent people in these roles, in these national security roles that can go in there and hold Putin to account, not praise Putin and say that we trust him more than our own intelligence community. And I think that's the difference.
I mean, that's one way to, yeah.
There's no redeeming qualities about Donald Trump. Truly, I always describe him as the false prophet because he always makes himself sound really strong and powerful and that he's going to, bully all these leaders. But when it comes to practice, his own former advisors confirm that never happened. We don't have any results of that happening. And, you should never believe somebody or vote for somebody who's telling you that they're going to solve all their problems. Government's never going to solve all your problems, but it can make your life a little bit easier.
Right. That's
just my view.
No, I mean, you're giving me a lot to think on, I guess. Another thing I'd like to bring up is Kamala has been she's been saying a lot of promises and stuff, and I'm wondering why she hasn't done it. I mean, she's already been vice president for 3.5-4 years, and I don't really see any of her what she's saying she's gonna do cuts for medium class families, tax cuts for them, and the whole abortion thing. Or she hasn't really done anything. Why hasn't it happened yet?
Yeah, so I think a couple of media points here. She is vice president. She doesn't have the power to do that. But also a lot of the things that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden ran on in 2020 have gotten done, like investments in infrastructure, expansion of healthcare, investments in fighting climate change, things like that. But also there's a fundamental problem with this question, which is it's a misunderstanding of government. Government's slow, right? It doesn't happen overnight. You can't just get into office and immediately clap and then everything you want to get done happens. And you're not going to solve all of America's problems in 4 years. So there's been a lot that they've accomplished, a lot that she's gotten done, but there's more to do. And if we were thinking of if somebody's expected to get everything they want done in 4 years, then no president would ever run for re-election, right? There'd be no purpose because the expectation is that they get done everything they want in 4 years. But if they run for re-election and they're promising more, the argument's always going to be, well, why didn't you do it already? And the answer is, well, government's slow and they can't get everything done in that amount of time. Do you understand what I'm saying, or am I being clear?
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. You're pretty much saying that it's slow and it'll take time. What she's saying that's going to happen. Right.
You're not going to get everything done in a 4-year period, and
Right. The tax cuts that were I understand that everybody's saying it was better under Trump and it's worse now. I get that the tax plan was that the one we're doing now is Trump's, the one right now, and that it was Obama's when Trump was running, right?
Yeah.
So why is it getting worse? Because he signed that petition almost right when did he sign the petition? 2016, 2017 when he signed the tax cut thing?
It was 2017, yeah.
why has it gotten worse? Because I mean, things were a lot cheaper in 2017, 2018, 2019 than they are now. So
Are you talking about taxes, or are you talking about prices at the grocery store?
well, a little bit of both. Because both pretty much. None of them have gotten better.
Yeah. So when it comes to taxes, the plan is written in such a way that essentially the middle class ends up paying for the tax cuts for the wealthy. So over time, the middle class taxes go up and up and up. And then eventually it expires in its entirety and everything expires. And then, of course, middle class tax cuts or taxes will go back to the same. So over time, it just kind of goes up and up and up. But then when it comes to prices, there was inflation, there was global. This happened in countries all around the world because of the pandemic, specifically due to supply chain issues, the fact that it was very difficult to get products to shelves. So when you have 100 people who want paper towels, but there's only 50 paper towels, of course, prices are going to go up. Now, and that was pretty much the entirety of the pandemic. And so when prices are really hard to get, prices go up. When products are really hard to get, prices go up. And this was, again, as I mentioned, a global thing. It happened in countries all around the world around the same time that it happened in the United States.
Right. But that was, we can pretty much say the pandemic damn near ended in 21, 22. It's gotten worse, since 21, 22, I'd say.
Yeah, so inflation's a lagging indicator. So a lot of the economic distress occurred in like 2020 / early 2021. Inflation didn't really hit at its peak until 2022. And then ever since then, it's gone down. But it's also important to understand that prices are not just going to go down. Like, products at the grocery store won't go down. We have inflation every single year. So products will continue to go up. It just depends on the rate that they're going up. And right now they're going up really slow. It's only 2.4% right now, the inflation rate, but previously it went up higher. So it feels like things are higher, but currently they're increasing pretty slowly. But also, again, it's just important to note that there's no way for the president themselves to lower prices. It's no way for Kamala Harris or even Donald Trump to get into office and just snap their fingers and then your grocery store bill becomes cheaper. It's just not something the president can do.
But
I also want to point out just super quickly that not only is inflation below 2.5%, which just means that things are getting more expensive much slower, and most we have the strongest economy in the world comparatively to other countries still dealing with inflation or not having as strong of growth. But also it's important to note that the wages, especially for middle and low income workers, have exploded over the last 4 years. So when you compare things like gas, right now the average gallon of gas in relation to the average income is about the same as it was in 2017 and 18.
I'm sorry. So in relation to what, minimum wage or average household income?
And that's in terms of average household income.
Okay. So, that could also be kind of people are making more money now and stuff like that. But
that's kind of, I guess my point is people are wages have been outpacing inflation for a while. A lot of these economic plans that Biden Harris have put forward, I would argue are get helping wage growth and just our general economy grow.
Right. That's talking of, but compared to minimum wage, which was, what was it in 2018? $16, $17?
It's been federal minimum wage has been $17.25 for I don't know, a couple decades.
Decade? What? Wait.
Yeah, the federal minimum wage has not changed.
Federal. Okay.
Yeah, the federal minimum wage has not changed in a long time.
Right. Oh, you're.
Yeah. So the federal minimum wage is $7.25. I don't know what year that. Maybe someone in chat knows. But yeah, maybe the state minimum wage. Did I not say $7.25?
Oh, they're saying.
Oh, I think it was you. Yeah, it's $7.25. What state do you live in, if you don't mind?
I live in Colorado.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, so in Colorado, the minimum wage was I think $16 or $17 in 2017. Gas was I think $2 back then, $2 or $3-ish. And I mean, now the minimum wage is 18, but gas is now $4 for the cheap one, the 85 one. So I mean, gas has doubled, but the minimum wage has only gone up by like $1.
Yeah, I think like a lot of it becomes in relation to just like general like household income. Like a lot of people are just like got raises and like jobs that weren't minimum wage jobs. Even some minimum wage jobs, like they just got like raises as well. And I think it's important to note again, like a lot of like the issues we had with things like the price of a gallon of gas are just like not in relation to the president. Like we're producing more oil right now than ever before in human history. Like we're producing about 1.1 million more barrels a day than we were under Donald Trump. So like, again, I think it speaks to like his economic policy of just like, he claims like we're going to be energy independent and all these things, but he's just like lying.
I understand. I mean, thank you guys. You guys have given me a lot to think on.
Of course.
Appreciate you guys.
Yeah,
man,
thanks for being up here, man.
Have a good one, all right?
Yeah, be safe, man.
Appreciate you. Hold on.
Yo, JW's going crazy. Huge W's in the chat.
JW, thanks for all the gift subs, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah, the Colorado minimum wage chat is like $12. That's pretty crazy. Georgia state minimum wage is like $5.
Yo, Scott, my man, thank you for the $10. Idea, election night. You all should have a subscriber hour, giving subscribers 30 seconds to have a voice of praise or thanks. Again, keep up the great work. Oh, trust. That's a great idea, first of all. I think maybe we'll do something special for subscribers on election night, but we'll think about it a little bit more.
Can you do something special for me? Can you just give me a phone call on election night, be like, hey, Chris, nice work, or anything, or...
This dude's just like begging for my attention. It's super weird, guys. So it's just super weird, dude. It's just super weird. Essence, thank you for the $5. Hiding in the bathroom during a party to watch you. Essence, I appreciate that. You have to go back into that party and say, go up to it's
put it on the TV. Put it on the fucking big screen. Like turn off the music. Say we're watching Harry J. Sissons live now, guys.
You in the corner. Get off each other. We're watching Harry's live.
Nice, bro. That's so funny. That's super funny.
For the $5.
God, you're such a loser, dude. How's it feel?
Yeah, this guy was just begging for my attention. We all just saw it. It's super strange that he does that.
I'm pretty sure the one who's always, Chris, where are you going to be on
shut the hell up?
Chris, where are you going to be on election night? I don't know, bro. Not with you. Oh, no.
Oh, no. Essence, thank you for the $5. I appreciate you. Go back in that party. Can you shut the hell up while I thank Essence? Are you capable?
Man.
Thank you, Essence, for the $5. Thank you, Essence, for the $5. Go back in that party and convince people. I'm going to say, vote for Kamala. Somebody just asked what Chris's Cash App is. It's Harry J. Says, I'm just joking. It's Chris. It's Chris D. Mowry. It's his Venmo and Cash App are the same on every single thing, on both Venmo, Cash App. And make sure you type it in exactly right, because a lot of people like try to scam and like have you misspell it. But anyway, and finally, Jennifer, thank you for the $20, saying JW wants up. We should definitely get JW up here at some point, for sure. Venmo, Cash App in the link in the bio. If you want to support the live, also drop a follow if you haven't already. Double tap the screen. We're so close to 700,000 likes. Why not? All right, man. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but just call you Beans. Why you MAGA?
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah. How old are you?
Okay, I'm 27.
All right. Why you MAGA?
So basically, I kind of, to piggyback off of what the last guy, he kind of seemed like he was just kind of unsure. Under Trump, we had more security. You can't deny the facts that the world was more at peace, and I say that term lightly. Obviously, I know we have been the police of the world, and I'm not saying I'm all for that. However, I am saying as far as our country under Trump, Trump felt like a more effective leader. He felt like one of the more effective leaders that we've had in a very long time. And obviously we see where the world's at now under a weaker Biden-Harris administration. And it's, to be quite frank with you, it's kind of sad to see that we've gone down that rabbit hole now of putting people in office that are not capable of leading the country the way it could potentially be led.
Okay, I always just find this argument funny that there was like more peace under Donald Trump. The world was more at peace. Are you saying that was because of Donald Trump? Just first and foremost, are you saying it's because of Donald Trump?
No, I'm not saying solely. What I'm basically saying is under I didn't hear your last part.
I don't know why you'd bring that up if you're not saying it's because of Donald Trump. I don't know why you would bring that up as to like why that was the case under Donald Trump. Like the weather was nicer yesterday under Joe Biden than it was 4 years ago under Donald Trump. Does that mean that I'd vote for Kamala Harris because of that? No, it's like if something's not because of the person I'm voting for, then I don't know why you bring it up as like a positive for them.
Okay, I mean, I was making a point saying solely. Obviously, the world, there's things that happen in the world that, America isn't centered. Okay, it's not the center of the world. I understand that. However, I'm saying Trump was way more effective than the administration that we have in office right now.
In what? Effective at what?
Effective at like I was talking about security, keeping America secure. Okay, protecting other countries, because obviously we've been doing that for so long now. That's kind of turned into a thing that we put our hand in so many different countries that we've kind of introduced that. Does that make sense?
So I just don't understand this whole security argument, because if that were the case, then why did Iran attack us under Donald Trump? And why did more American soldiers die abroad under Donald Trump in combat than they did under Joe Biden?
Well, obviously they didn't die under Joe Biden because we pulled out. I don't necessarily agree with that. Do you agree that we should have pulled out of that situation?
Yeah.
Why so?
Because why would we? What's the point in staying in Afghanistan? We were not fighting a war anymore. I mean, the war was going over 20 years. I mean, at that point, we were just going to stay there permanently and just continue to spend a bunch of money. And under Donald Trump, the majority of the troops actually that died under Donald Trump died in Afghanistan. So our troops were dying there. It's just, I don't think we should continue to bring body bags back every year into grieving families.
I agree. I agree with that. Now I'm going to address something that you just said. So is spending money spending money is an issue?
No,
no, that's not the point I was making.
But I'm saying that's one of the things you said. I agree with the body.
No,
bag.
I think like spending money on something of which there's no clear or obtainable goal, I think is bad. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I agree with that. But what I'm saying is, so you're saying our involvement in the Middle East, there's no clear and obtainable goal for that?
No. No. I'm saying us staying in Afghanistan, I don't think there is any clear or obtainable goal long term for us being there.
Okay, I would disagree with that, because I mean, you got to ask yourself, why did we get involved in the Middle East?
For really dumb reasons.
Actually, I actually don't think. Hold on. Yeah. If you're specifically referring to like why we got involved in Afghanistan, I don't even think you know the answer to that. That's kind of the entire point of why it was a disaster, is because we walked in with no clear and obtainable goal, felt like we should democracy build, and over 20 years after spending $1 trillion, people kept dying. It was one of the only bipartisan issues where most Americans were like, we got to get the fuck out of here, because what are we doing?
Yeah. We also got into like the Middle East based off of lies as well, like the lie of WMDs and stuff like that.
Well, that's a heavy word.
Okay. Well, here's what I'm. All right.
Do you disagree, Chris?
No, I don't. I don't disagree with that.
Do you not think that Bush and Cheney lied to the American people?
I think that it's more likely than not that Bush and Cheney.
Fuck off! It's more likely than not.
I think it's more likely than not that Bush and Cheney knew they wanted to go in before and needed a reason to do it, and so they pushed the intelligence administration to find proof that wasn't there. And when the intelligence agency said there is no proof, they went to the American people and made up proof anyways. That is more probable.
So they lied.
That is more. That is more. Yes, that is more probable than not.
What the fuck? I mean, is this Chris defending George Bush? What's this new word?
Guys, I'm trolling. I am trolling. I'm trolling. There's also a possibility that our intelligence agencies thought that there were WMDs and they were wrong. That is a less likely scenario, and one that has been rebuttal.
And then, by the way, tomorrow Chris is going to post a video. There's also a possibility that 2020 was stolen. I mean, who's to say?
No, guys, I would say Bush and Cheney lied. I would say that. I'm sorry. I was just trolling, honestly. I was trying to bring some lightheartedness here. Continue. What are we talking about?
So addressing that. So obviously we went in the Middle East for a reason. Okay. I mean, we can sit here and Monday night or, Monday morning quarterback it. Obviously there's things that we probably don't know that we'd probably be shocked as a nation. I do agree with that. However, the main premise of us getting involved, right, is because of terrorism. Okay. That obviously shocked us as a nation. There I had friends. Okay. They're older. Like I said, I'm 27, but it's, guys in their probably in their 30s at that time. They, signing up to go over there because we were under attack, right? We saw terrorism rise, and there was I think there was a very valid reason for us going over there. I'm not saying that there was a achievable goal, but we made that effort to go over there. Okay. Like I said, I had people that I knew personally that went over there, and thankfully I didn't have any of them, get killed in action or anything like that, but we went over there for a valid reason.
I agree that like the reason wasn't valid, but again, it's important to note that like Afghanistan is a different scenario than like Iraq, right? Like this was pretty like long standing, and like walking into a place like Afghanistan is a lot different than 9/11 happens, and then what? We're like Saddam Hussein has WMDs, so we walk in, we topple the government, and then what? We're like, oh, okay, let's just start democracy building in Afghanistan because fucking maybe something bad will happen if we don't. Anyway, it doesn't matter. That's kind of on me. That's a very touchy topic, right? We don't, as Americans, we don't know the tensions that are there, right? We got involved probably prematurely. And obviously we see what's going on today with everything with Israel. There's a lot of tension there, and there's a lot of fighting over territory and stuff like that. I kind of want to switch it over, and hear what y'all think. So obviously I know y'all are big time supporters with Kamala and everything. How do y'all feel like we've treated immigration? Yes, I mean, that's a big topic that has been talked about.
I think the Republicans bear the responsibility for the problem.
Okay, why?
Because if the Democrats are identifying a problem at the border, as Joe Biden did by introducing an immigration bill on day one of his presidency, and the Republicans blocked that bill. And then in 2023, the Democrats worked with Republicans, including a Republican senator called James Langford, who was endorsed by Donald Trump, on a bipartisan bill. And they would invest more in border patrol, immigration courts, giving the president the ability to shut down the border, and more. And Republicans blocked that bill. So you can no longer claim that the Democrats are the problem if the Republicans are the ones standing in the way, even standing in the way of bipartisan reform. So that's why I say Republicans own the issue. It's their fault. You can't, in any other circumstance, when this logic is applied, you'd say the person blocking the reform is at fault. So,
okay, but even if we go back, to under Obama, there were things that were being put into effect. Okay, like the capture and release, stuff like that, important things that Obama had put in place, and that moved on to under Kamala and Joe. I mean, they were openly supporting that, and now we see it's festered into a very big issue. Right, we have a ton of illegal immigrants in this country, and it's stressing our, I say infrastructure. It's stressing all this money that's going that we're having to put into supporting these people that are coming over, and obviously our borders are not secure. I mean, can we all agree on that? Our borders are in shambles.
Well, I think the question is what is your definite I think I disagree with the premise of the question. Were our borders in shambles under Donald Trump?
I mean, yeah, they were.
Okay, so the border was an issue under Trump as well.
Yes,
and he didn't fix it for 4 years.
No, I'm not saying he didn't fix it in 4 years. I'm saying that obviously, like y'all said, in government, nothing's immediate. We can't expect immediate results, right? But under Trump, there were things in place that would have made the situation better, but obviously it couldn't have been solved in 4 years. But it has gotten worse. The immigration has gotten worse. I mean, the numbers you can't.
Then if the immigration has gotten worse and it's the Democrats' fault, what policy was put in place to make, or policies, or legislation signed that made it worse?
Well, like I just mentioned, the whole catch and release.
Well, like catch or I would argue I don't think
know.
that like any of those policies had like such a substantial effect on like, you know, things like how many people were removed from the country. Like if we actually look at Border Patrol data, we see that like Joe Biden removes the exact same amount of people, actually just a slightly higher percentage of people than Donald Trump. Like if 5 million people come across the border, Joe Biden statistically is removing about 2.5 million of them. And so like and that's really not that much different than Donald Trump. So like I don't think that like there's much data that any of those policies like really changed the outcomes at the border.
Okay. What's the reason for the border patrol? I guess the union. What's the reason for them not supporting Kamala then?
First of all, it's Kamala. Also, it's Kamala, like a comma in a sentence, and then just law. Kamala.
Well, I'll call her Harris. If it makes you feel better.
Yeah, you can call her Madam Vice President or Madam President soon, or
no, I'll just Harris call her Harris.
That's fine.
Okay. Yeah.
So the board. So just to be clear, it's the Border Patrol Union that endorsed Donald Trump. It's not the Border Patrol, obviously, because it's a government agency. They don't.
As I said, yeah, the union. Yeah.
Yeah. So they support Donald Trump because this is like Trump's entire campaign. He just talks about immigration. And the Border Patrol Union is historically more conservative, so it obviously makes sense as to why they would side with the Republican candidate. But it's also important to note that the Border Patrol Union endorsed the bipartisan border bill that Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, and Democrats and Republicans put forward that Donald Trump killed. So if we're valuing the endorsement or the approval of the Border Patrol Union, then I think we should be passing the policy that they wanted to get passed and not be voting for the person who killed that policy when it comes to immigration.
Okay, I mean, look, I'm just going off of what that's a fact that the union doesn't support her. So I'm wondering if you're saying that she's, if she has them in mind, right? They're basically saying she's not supporting us. We need help. She's not doing anything to fix the issue. She hasn't visited us. She hasn't we haven't seen her. That's not true.
She has visited the border.
Oh, okay.
Multiple times.
How many times?
I think twice or three times.
She's visited the border twice in 4 years. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, just to be clear, like, I've never really understood with the whole, like, oh, you have to visit the border. What I don't really understand what that accomplishes just because, like, the work takes place in DC. It's like, you can go to the border for a photo op and like get your photos and like, that's fine. But, like, okay, you see the border, you see a big fence. It's like,
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so like again, like I don't think that I think that the Democrats introduced 3 total bills, including one on their first day in office, Joe Biden's first day in office, to like address the issue at the border. Republicans wouldn't play ball. They killed the bipartisan border bill. The reason there's more people coming across the border is like purely because of other things like COVID and like these economies being ravaged. So like, our immigration system has been broken for like a long time. I think Democrats for the first time actually tried to do something about it and like actually tried to work across the aisle to do it, and Republicans wouldn't.
Okay.
What a damn shame.
What do you think about Donald Trump being found liable for sexually abusing a woman?
First off, I think I think with him getting charged with everything that he got charged with, right? I forgot, what was it, like 30 something felonies?
34 felony counts.
34 felony counts. I think for that to happen and other people, okay, Clinton, you can put her in there for the disaster that.
Wait. How does Hillary have anything to do with Donald Trump's 34 felony counts?
Well, because we're talking about politicians that are, like I said, it was.
But what was Donald Trump charged with? Well, Donald Trump's been, still facing another like 500 years in prison. But what was Donald Trump found guilty of by a jury of unanimously by a jury of ordinary Americans?
Which y'all just said that what I was just talking about, the 34 felonies.
Yeah. So what is that? What are those charges?
Sexual assault, I guess.
No. He was found liable by a jury for sexual abuse. He was he was charged with 34 counts of falsifying business records in the first degree because he paid $200,000 to a porn star, falsified the business records on it, and then engaged in a scheme to defraud the state of New York and violate their election law. So I'm not familiar with, like, we can talk about bad politicians, but I'm not familiar with like Hillary Clinton paying off porn stars so they're silent about an affair before she ran for president.
Okay, well, the point I was getting at, I wasn't talking about a sexual assault. I was talking about they went after Donald Trump for that. Okay,
who is they?
Well, I'm saying the prosecute. You know what I mean? They prosecuted him for that. Okay. Obviously, y'all use that as a big topic against him. Okay, but there's other people that have done way worse things. Okay, including Hillary Clinton, that has not had anything brought down on her.
What does Hillary Clinton do?
She didn't break any laws.
Okay. Well, what about the emails?
What about the emails?
The emails that were.
Yeah, they're like
joking
no. I mean, there's an entire FBI.
What about the emails?
Yeah, there's an entire FBI investigation, and they like did their whole.
Actually,
thing.
there was not an entire FBI investigation. There were multiple FBI investigations into her emails.
Or like Benghazi, where she sat down for 11 House committees. It was like over 1,000 hours of testimony, and nothing came of it. Like, I don't know what we're referring to.
That's the point I'm getting at. Benghazi, we're talking about like all that stuff.
What's criminal about any of that?
Yeah, it's like you don't have to like Trump is just a criminal, right? There's not this like there's not a bunch of politicians going around and committing the crime that Donald Trump has and that he's the only one that got caught, right? Like there have been investigations into politicians before, but Trump is just uniquely criminal. And you shouldn't vote for somebody who so flagrantly breaks the law and thinks that they are above it. That's all it's not a radical point, is it?
No. It's 100% not a radical point. I'm not saying, I don't think anybody would say the man's perfect. Obviously, you got those people that are Trump or die. I get that. There are people that say that, but I'm not saying Trump's perfect by any means. Okay.
So like, I guess then the question becomes like, what's like the line? What's the line for you? Like, why? So he's a convicted felon, and it's like, okay, well, everybody commits felonies, I guess. But then like, he's found liable by a jury for sexually abusing a woman, liable for defaming that woman, liable for defaming that woman again, brags about sexually abusing a woman. Is that not a line? Is that not like unacceptable to you?
No, I'm not saying that's not a line here. You do realize there's a difference between being held liable and actually being charged with that, correct?
Yeah, I do. But I mean, again, I don't know.
So remember, you're innocent until proven guilty. Okay. So before we jump the gun, let's not act like they're not going to come back and say he's not guilty of this.
Okay, well, first of all, that case is already over, right? He's been found liable of sexual abuse, defamation, and sexual abuse, defamation twice. Yeah, but the bar for finding someone liable in civil court is not as high, but it's still high. If you think that like civil court is just like, oh, who cares? Then like, I don't know why you're not filing a bunch of civil lawsuits right now and making a bunch of money. But like, how about the fact that he like brags about it? Like, I mean, he's on audio saying, quote, "When you're this rich and famous, you can grab him by the blank. You don't even have to wait. I just start kissing." 2 weeks ago, he was on a stage where another woman accused him of sexual abuse. And 2 weeks ago, he said, "They're going to say it's terrible that I say this, but it's the truth. I wouldn't have done that because, quote, she wouldn't have been the chosen one." Is that a statement you support?
No.
So why is it? Why
support that? Here's what I'm saying. Okay, you're talking about him being held liable in a civil court. Okay, which is obviously completely separate from a criminal. Okay, from him being criminally charged. Okay, he's being held liable in a civil court. That has nothing to do with the criminal aspect. So let's not act like he's a criminal. He hasn't been criminally charged.
Well, I mean, he is a criminal. He's a felon, but not for this.
Okay. I'm glad that's funny.
I mean, I don't think it actually. I don't think it's funny at all. I think it's frustrating that you seem to just like, oh, because it's not criminal in nature, it's okay that Donald Trump, the leading Republican nominee and former president, brags about sexual abuse. I think that could have a serious negative outcome for women around the country because I don't know. Is it just like are dudes walking around? If I go to a bar, if I go out tonight, are there going to be dudes that are like, oh, yeah, I mean, look, if the Republican nominee fucking brags about the fact that he sexually abused a woman, I could do it right now. I could get away with it. Why is it not okay to just touch women any type of way? That's why I'm not laughing. I'm actually laughing because I think it's so incredibly frustrating that you don't see how serious that is.
I do see how serious. Why I'm not laughing. That's the point I was getting at. You were the one that was laughing.
Clearly, you don't find it that serious because you're still voting for him. So regardless of if it's criminal in nature or not, why do you not see a big enough issue with him bragging about sexual abuse?
Because here's another part to that. What you're talking about. You're talking about something that he like they said, locker room talk, whatever. I'm not saying it's okay, but also they brought that up. How would you think of conversations you've had with people? I'm not okaying what he said, but here's what I'm saying. Conversations you had that you were like, oh shit, if that was recorded, that wouldn't look too good, whatever. Okay, we've all said stupid stuff. We've all, been drunk with buddies, said stupid stuff. How would you like if that was brought up? And would you want people to say, oh, Chris, that can you believe what that guy said? Whatever. How would you like that to happen to you? And then people talk about you.
So I want to say a few things. Number one, I just find this is always comes back to the point of your bar for president of the United States is in the goddamn ground. Okay. It's not about how I would feel or how you or I would feel if something we didn't want to be public was public. This is about the leader of the free world saying these things and then acting like a child and not because after the Hollywood Access tape, it wasn't like, oh my God, I was 18 years old. I shouldn't have said that. Because I don't normally just go around bragging about sexual abuse to my buddies. But not only that, not only when he was found liable for sexual abuse and accused 27 more times by 27 different women, he has, again, gone on rampages about how, he's under attack. These women are all gross and disgusting and ugly. So again, this is the leader of the free world. I don't think that shows a temperament to be a good leader. And regardless of that, how would I feel if my public conversations were leaked? I can keep shifting the goalpost until you give me an actual response, which is 2 weeks ago when he's on a stage and he says, I wouldn't do that because she wouldn't be the chosen one. In 2019, he gives an interview with The Hill as president and says, quote, I would not have sexually abused E. Jean Carroll because, number one, she's not my type, unquote. Is that suggesting that if E. Jean Carroll was prettier, he would have been okay with sexually abusing her? Are you serious? How about those two? Because those two aren't leaked. Those two, he got up on a stage, he got an interview, and he said those words. He said, These women are ugly, disgusting, gross, and I wouldn't have done it because they're not my type. Is that okay?
You're asking me if that's okay?
Yes.
No, I don't. You're bringing up stuff. I don't know what y'all are talking about. Him bragging about it. This is
so. Let's. So here, I got you.
I heard what you said. I heard what you said. Like I said, I don't know. I'm not familiar with what you're talking about. I don't do this.
So I'll play the video, and you can just tell me yes or no.
What happened? Why is it quiet?
Because I'm going to play a video because he said he wasn't familiar with Trump bragging about sexual abuse. So the audio tape, was just leaked, and apparently we all just brag about sexual abuse in private. But
that's when I first.
So this was less than a month ago.
This case involved a woman who wrote a book, and I guess she said something in the book. As far as I know, I never met her. There was never a claim. There was never a police. There was never a claim. There was never a police report. There was never anything mentioned. There was never publicity 30 or 40 years ago, whenever it took place.
Wait on.
I know it's 90% of sexual assault.
This part of the same interview. So let me just find the part. I think it's right here.
When a jury says he's sexually numerous, there were two witnesses, commercial flight, and we became very intimate after 15 minutes, and then she checked the practicality of this. I'm famous. What are the chances of that happening? But
here you go. It's right here.
What are the chances of that happening? What are the chances? And frankly, I know you're going to say it's a terrible thing to say, but it couldn't have happened. It didn't happen. And she would not have been the chosen one. She would not have been the chosen one.
That was less than a month ago. That's his response to someone accusing him of sexual abuse.
Okay, and him saying she would not be the chosen one. What's the? I don't understand. Him talking about her.
I'm asking if you support that statement.
Her not being the chosen one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it's, and I don't know the context.
Yeah. So he's been accused of sexual abuse. He says that the story is impractical, but not only that, quote, she would not have been the chosen one.
Okay. What are you asking?
Yeah, so I think like exactly what like Donald Trump is like referring to here. He's like, in fact, well, maybe actually you don't, but you can agree that like it's a horrible thing to say.
I will agree that Trump puts his foot in his mouth. What I think the problem we're having here is y'all are on here, okay. Y'all are both avid Trump haters. That's a fact, right? I'm sure y'all will admit to that.
He's a convicted felon who we just played an audio tape of less than a month ago saying, I wouldn't have sexually abused a woman because she wasn't pretty enough. He told more lies than any president in his history. He tried to overturn an election that he didn't win. So, like, again, the bar's in the fucking ground. These 2017-18 talking points of, like, you guys are Trump haters. It's fucking ridiculous, okay? Every political scholar on earth, and that is barely a hyperbole, think that Trump is one of, if not the worst president of all time. It's almost unbelievable that those words could come out of your mouth. Please give me something of substance. Why do you think it's okay that Donald Trump says those things? Why can his response not be, I didn't do this. I did. Why can't he handle it in a more professional manner? I'm asking you about leadership qualities at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, that doesn't sound like someone with leadership qualities.
Hold on, my screen broke. Can y'all still hear me?
Mm-hmm.
There would be. Let me say this. There would be a lot of people that would be very upset if you said that to them about their family, their friend, whatever, just because somebody's convicted of a felony, just because somebody did something, made a bad decision, doesn't mean. Can I finish what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Doesn't mean that they should just be stomped on the ground and just dethrone whatever. What I'm saying is, during Trump's presidency, there were things that he did that were very good for this country. I'm not talking about what you're bringing up, this whole sexual assault. Do y'all love to bring these things up?
Wait, really quickly. Can you name me a piece of legislation Donald Trump passed through his 4-year presidency?
I don't do that. Like I said, I don't do this.
Okay, so it's like, apparently we hate Trump and we pivot to the fact that he's a convicted felon and sexual abuse. And you think Trump did great things for this country, but you can't fucking name one. You can't name his main accomplishment because you don't know it. Don't give me that bullshit. Again, your bar for president of the United States is in the ground. Don't stop on people because they have felonies.
You're saying it's in the ground.
Hold on. Stop. You're saying, people would be offended because people have felonies and make mistakes. Yeah, I agree. But number one, we're talking about president of the United States, not your friends. And number two, Donald Trump didn't get a felony for doing something that he regrets because he still says that it's fraudulent and all this stuff. He got a felony because while he was going into the White House and while in the White House, he paid $200,000 or $160,000 of hush money to a porn star, lied on the business records about it, and then engaged in a scheme to try to get other stories that were negative about him, like having affairs with porn stars, and paying them off, which violates New York state election law. None of your buddies or friends or anybody we know has a felony for paying over $100,000 to a fucking porn star and lying on the business records about it. Again, this is President of the United States. Donald Trump is not some fucking normal civilian, okay? I just don't understand how these things are deal breakers. And you can't keep saying, you guys just always bring up the sexual abuse or the felony. It's always the talking point. Not only do I think that's dumb as shit, but fine. Can you give me a piece of legislation that you like? Quote, he did great things for this country, and you can't name a piece of legislation. Legislation tends to be president's main accomplishment. So, like, I could name 2 pieces of Trump legislation that are considered his main accomplishments. But if you're voting for the guy and you can't, I think that's borderline disgraceful.
I think what's borderline disgraceful is the fact that we've talked about our involvement in the Middle East and the issues of immigration, and somehow this conversation has pivoted to him being a convicted felon and all this sexual assault stuff that y'all are bringing up.
Pause. Again, I think the convicted felon stuff speaks to just generally to he cares more about himself than the will of the people, the country, trying to overturn elections and do things he doesn't care. But number two, again, these are still really important matters. Like, I know you may care about the border, but like, do you know how big of an issue things like sexual abuse are? Again, we're creating a culture in America where people are going to think.
I work with people with sexual abuse. Yes, I do.
Okay, well, I think that it's
Hold on. hold on. Just take it back a second. You just said you work with sexual abuse survivors?
Yes.
And you're voting for the guy who is found liable for assaulting a woman and is on audio bragging about assaulting a woman and said he wouldn't assault a woman because she wasn't the chosen one?
Of course, I get a fucking violation for that, man. That's so stupid.
How does that make any sense?
I don't work directly with people with sexual abuse. I work around them. Like that's not the only people I work. Does that make sense? Like I don't just deal with sexual abuse. I've come into contact, yes, but I don't,
Okay, but you work with some people who have been victims of assault.
Correct.
So even working with some people who are victims of assault, you're voting for the guy who assaults women. How does that make any sense? What would those people that you work with think about that?
Here's the point I'm trying to get to, guys. Y'all keep bringing this up because I guess this is the most important thing. I guess this is what gets y'all views and what makes y'all.
It's not.
So can you pause for a second? Listen.
You keep saying pause. You keep saying pause.
I'm going to let you finish. I'm going to say one more thing. I'm going to say one more thing, and then I'm going to say one more thing.
Go right
and then
ahead.
I'm going to let you speak.
We can go right for it.
Okay, bro, relax. Okay, I'm going to say one more thing, and then you can speak. Again, we can talk about legislation. You're not aware of any legislation. Harry and I could spend 10 minutes telling you about all the ways Biden and Harris pass far more things through Congress than Donald Trump. We can talk about the felonies. We can talk about the extensive way he illegally tried to overturn the election. But please, the quote sexual abuse stuff is it's not just pivoting to some dumb shit that doesn't matter. That's very important. That speaks not only to Donald Trump's character as a leader, but I think that's very important to people around the country, women around the country who are watching the leader of the fucking free world be elected after saying these things. I think it's a fucking spit in the face to people, and I think it's causing real harm and danger. Okay? So don't give me that. That's so just infuriating, but whatever. We can talk about literally anything else. You don't know any legislation. You don't know what he was convicted of.
We were talking about literally everything else, and y'all brought that up.
All right.
I didn't bring that up.
It's pretty damn important, my man. It's pretty damn important. He's a criminal. He's a goddamn criminal. Why do you think somebody breaking the law openly and proudly is not important for somebody whose role would be to uphold the law?
You gonna say something or just sit there with a dumb look on your face, Harry?
I'm gonna sit here with a shocked look on my face because goddamn, we're operating with the not the sharpest tool in the shed here.
Again, y'all brought this point up, and now you're sitting here telling me that I have brought the bar low. Whatever you're talking about, we were talking about other issues. Y'all brought this up.
Okay, yeah. So I think
this is. Here we go again. Can I finish what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Fucking finish.
Wow, a little angry there, huh, Harry?
No, I'm astounded by the lack of intelligence in what you're saying right now. It's painful to listen to.
I'm shocked by the lack of intelligence you guys have. I really am. Because
can you name the three?
You don't know what he was convicted of. Can you name the three branches of government?
Can I finish what I'm saying?
No, you can name the three. Can you name the three branches of government right now?
Interrupting me.
Can you? Yeah. Well, one sec. Can you name the three branches of government?
Yes, executive, judicial, and
it's our intelligence.
I don't do this for a living.
Well, no. That's not. Hey, buddy, champ. Listen up. It's not that you don't do it for a living. It's that you would say things insulting our intelligence, and then not realize what the fuck you're talking about up here, not knowing any court cases or legislation or the three branches of government.
No. Y'all love to turn these things. You asked me why I'm voting MAGA. I brought up very simple points. I'm not getting into policy and all this bullshit that y'all are literally getting paid to do. Get on here.
Who's paying us?
Oh my God, here we go.
Who's paying us?
Okay. If we're just gonna sit here and disagree, you asked me why I'm MAGA. I'm giving you valid reasons why.
They're not valid.
Okay, yeah.
Well, I'm sorry you feel like they're not valid, but you're inviting people on here to discuss.
God, yes,
but you also have to understand that this is an open. This is an open forum, so there are a number of policy positions and views that are going to get brought up. So the fact that your guy is a convicted felon is fair game, and you can't just say, "Well, I don't like the point, so you guys can't bring it up." It's like, what is that weak shit?
All we asked was like, why that's not why that's not a line? Like, why is that? How he, like, at what point, like, essentially what I was trying to get to is like, what could Donald Trump do that would make you not vote for him? Because it sounds like nothing.
That was not the point at all. Nobody ever said that. What could he not do to vote for him? You asked me why I'm MAGA. I'm telling y'all, we're talking about topics. You switch it to, well, hold on, he's a convicted felon, sexual assault. We weren't even talking about that, but apparently that's the dirt. That's the dirt that gets brought up in every conversation.
Oh my God,
That's
dude!
I
brought it up. Shut up for a second. I brought it up because I thought it was important. The answer is you don't really care. That's fine. We can move on to something else. If you have a piece of legislation, please just we can go on to any topic. The reason I brought it up was not because to make money or to get views. I think it's important that the leader of the free world has been found liable for sexually abusing a woman, brags about it, and is a convicted felon. If that's not an issue you don't care about, fine. I don't care. We can move to something else. I was just trying to push you of like, hey, why is this not a deal breaker for you? You know, I talked to somebody today who told me, he said, I'm on my brother's account right now. You talk to my brother. I spent 2 months trying to convince him to vote for Donald Trump. And he came in the house yesterday and he told me he voted for Kamala Harris. And I looked at him shocked. And I said, why did you vote for Kamala Harris? I thought you were voting for Donald Trump. And he said, well, I talked to this guy on TikTok that told me Donald Trump was found liable for sexual abuse. All this comes around to the brother saying, he told me the name of your account. I got to hear this. I'm not okay with dudes touching women any type of way. I was going to vote for Trump tomorrow, but I didn't know he's been found liable for sexual abuse. Can you tell me about it? So we had an entire conversation. And in the end, he was like, I'm voting for Kamala Harris because that's a line too far. The whole point in that was that's what, I don't know, 90% of fucking morally normal people do. And I was surprised that that's just not a line for you. And that's fine. Now we can move to a different conversation. I hope that clears up why I brought that up.
Okay. What would y'all like to move to?
Whatever you want. We don't want to bring up any.
We don't want to bring up anything that offends you.
Yeah, we don't want to bring up ridiculous points. So please.
Well, you sat on the same point, just going in circles, telling me that I don't have an issue with that. What is wrong with you? The whole thing. You're the one that brought that up, and you're trying to corner me on it. I'm not. All right, what are you even talking about?
Holy shit!
Not trying to corner you on it. It's just like, it's super simple to be like, Erica, thank you for the animal. It's really simple to be like, yeah, I'm not going to vote for criminals, and I won't vote for people who assault women. It's really that, like, that's not cornering you. That's just a really simple position to take. Me and Chris agree that we would not vote for a criminal. We would not vote for somebody who assaults women. You do not agree with those basic principles. That's all. And that's very strange to us. That's all. We're just very confused as to why you would vote for somebody whose job is to uphold the laws, who has broken the laws. So what would you like to move to?
It's on y'all. What y'all want to move to?
All right, bro.
It's all running the show.
All right, bro. Either you pick a topic or we'll move on to somebody else.
Let's move on to...
Why do you think the economy? Did we talk about the economy?
Inflation. Yeah.
Yeah. So how did the Biden-Harris administration cause inflation?
I don't know how it caused inflation. Here's my side of it. Like I said, we can look at how life was under Trump, how life is under Harris and them, right? Everything's more expensive.
Yeah. So
people are struggling. You can't deny what the facts are. You can't deny how people are living now and how people were living.
Got it. So let me give you a quick example of something. The consumption of margarine, which is a butter-like cooking spread, the consumption of margarine in Maine over the last 10 years correlates perfectly with the divorce rate. Perfectly. As people consume more margarine, more people get divorced at a perfect rate. Nobody right now is saying margarine, the cooking like spread, is causing divorce. That's called correlation without causation, right? So I don't really care about your perspective. I care about the general facts of the matter, which is there is no economic data to support the fact that Biden or Harris and their legislation was the main cause of inflation. The main cause of inflation was supply and demand issues from COVID. And right now, because of Biden-Harris legislation, a lot of it, what Harris played a direct role in, is the reason we have the strongest economy in the world right now, by far. Inflation is sub 2.5%. The S&P 500 has hit 44 all-time highs. We had the fastest growing GDP in the world last year. We're on track to double the next nation below us this year with the fastest growing GDP in the world. We have one of the lowest unemployment rates. We've created more jobs under Joe Biden, even accounting for the jobs that, quote, came back after COVID. Even accounting for that, Joe Biden has created more jobs. The economy has grown faster. He's created more manufacturing jobs. He's borrowed less money than Donald Trump and ran the deficit less high. So I would argue that like the Biden-Harris administration did much better on the economy, and the cause of inflation was not them.
Okay, so then what was it?
Supply and demand issues.
Can you expand on that?
Yeah, sure. So let's like take gas as an example. So under Donald Trump, toward the end of his administration in 2020, gas was like $1.50 or $1.20 or maybe even $1. And the reason this is because, during the pandemic, everybody around the world was locked inside. And so demand for oil was really low. And when demand for oil was really low, everybody cut their supply because people who were supplying oil weren't making any money. So they were like, we're not going to supply oil anymore. So when barrels of oil were being traded on the global market under the late part of Donald Trump's presidency, they were trading for like $10, $20, sometimes $0 a day on the global market, when normally they're trading between like $70 and $125. So nobody wanted oil. There's no demand for oil. Joe Biden gets in office, the vaccines roll out, and because of the stage of the pandemic, everybody all of a sudden goes outside. There's a massive spike in the demand for oil. Everybody needs things like gas, and demand is really high, but supply is still really low because nobody around the world is producing oil. It takes like 6 months to a year to even like get that process from start to finish. You got to get the oil out of the ground and refine it and get it on the market. So when demand is really, really high for something like oil and supply is really, really low, that causes inflation. That same premise can be applied to like other things at the grocery store, because like supply chains were broken. A lot of people weren't working. People were locked inside. A lot of people were dying and sick. And so we had little supply of a lot of these goods, and the demand was really high, and that causes inflation.
Right. So I appreciate you explaining it, breaking it down. What I asked was, why is inflation higher now than when it was under Trump?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, inflation right now is 2.5%. So we're getting close to like the, 2% target. But again, I think that like, as Harry said earlier in the live, inflation in general is like a lagging indicator. So I think that like once inflation, came up toward like 9 and 10%, we objectively, comparative to the rest of the world, like our inflation came down the fastest. There's still other European countries with higher inflation rates than us. And if countries have a lower inflation rate than us, they have other major problems, like their GDP isn't growing or their labor participation rate is low. And so like, it's just taken a lot of work to like, we had to, obviously took time in 2022 to like fix those supply chain issues. And then, after that, as like inflation started to come down, and it's been a process ever since then to like just kind of suck more money out of the economy.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But I think sorry, go ahead.
No. So that's what I'm saying. So basically what you're saying is it had nothing to do with Kamala and them?
Yeah, that's sick. I'll shout at Ricky. I'm not saying it had nothing to do with them. I'm saying the main cause of inflation was not Biden-Harris. And I would also argue that like the reason we have the strongest economy in the world by far is because in the most divided time in history, the Biden-Harris administration passed more legislation through Congress, fiscal legislation, than like any administration in like American history potentially.
Right. I mean, we're constantly growing. That makes sense.
Like I just think that like it's important comparatively to Donald Trump, who passed like almost no legislation and had a less divided Congress.
But somehow we were safer. We could afford more.
Well, I think we taught, but again, like I think that like a cause and effect is super important. So like if you can't name the cause for things like things being less expensive, then I would argue the main economic cause may become like the Barack Obama presidency. I mean, he signed an $830 billion Recovery Act of 2009 that led to 72 straight months of private sector job growth. So the economy was pretty fucking strong when Donald Trump got in office, unless again, you have some like major piece of legislation you can name under Trump that was like it's just like a really shifted our economy in a different way. I can name a lot of those for Biden Harris.
Okay. What the point I'm getting at is under, so let's just say what you said. It was strong when Obama left. Trump got the easy. He came in. It was easy street, right? Led the country for 4 years, and then Kamala and them came in, and it was bad when he handed it off to them.
The economy?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, objectively, yes. Actually, I mean, the unemployment rate when Donald Trump left office was like, I don't know what the exact, like 12% or something. I mean, Donald Trump statistically is the worst jobs president ever. He's one of only 2 presidents to lose more jobs than he gained during his presidency, minus 3 million. So yeah, I mean, the Biden-Harris administration got handed, and I'm not, and again, I'm agreeing that we can identify outside causes that aren't just the president. So like, obviously, I don't think Donald Trump caused COVID. I think he like mishandled COVID, whatever. But that's like a different discussion. But yeah, objectively, like they were handed an economy with like a very high unemployment rate.
Okay. I mean, yeah, we can't argue that COVID, messed everybody up. I wouldn't really blame Trump for that either. That's all I'm saying is the fact that things aren't affordable now. And I know that doesn't have everything to do with the president, but also there was nothing that he did to help it.
So then I guess just for a second, the question becomes like, I understand, and I feel like I have a pretty solid idea of like what Kamala Harris's plans are economically for a second term. Like, what does Donald Trump plan to do to like lower these prices and such?
Well, for one, I mean, so let's go to you were talking about oil, right? You're talking about like y'all are familiar with the Keystone Pipeline.
Yep.
That was shut down under Biden.
Yep.
Okay, so would y'all agree that Trump wanting to open that up would be a good thing for our country?
No. Why would that be a good thing for our country?
Why would it not be a good thing?
Well, number one, I'm trying to figure out like where you're going with this. Like I know Trump says a lot, like drill, baby, drill. So is that what you're suggesting? We need to like drill more oil?
Well, what I'm saying is that Keystone Pipeline, we can agree that's an asset to our country, correct?
Well, I'm asking why is it an asset to our country?
Because it's going to create. We're talking about the economy.
Okay, so what's it going to do for you?
It's going to. We're gonna drill more oil. It's going to create more revenue for us. We're not going to be getting it from the Middle East.
Okay. So number one, wrong, because it's not our oil. It's Canadian oil that's being refined here. It was only like 10% complete when Joe Biden shut it down, but it's not our oil. So that's why I asked that question, because it's not going to create oil. Number two, you say we're not going to have to get oil from the Middle East. We are quote unquote, energy independent for the first time ever. Actually, for the first time, in 70 years. Right now, we are a net exporter of oil for the first time since World War II, meaning for once, we export more oil than we import. We are drilling more oil right now than ever before in human history. So I don't know how like Donald Trump claiming drill baby drill or opening up the Keystone Pipeline would really have much of an effect.
You're talking about self-efficiency. We're using our oil. That's the literal definition of being self-efficient.
Okay, yeah. So again, like we're producing like tons of oil right now. I think
we have tons of oil. We have the Balkan fields.
Yeah. So again,
oil is under our feet.
I know. I know. So why did Donald Trump not produce as much oil as Biden and Harris?
I don't know.
Right. Okay. That's all. That's just. I'm just saying you got to like when Donald Trump.
Let me just address something. When you're inviting people on here to openly talk about things, and then whenever somebody says, "I'm not really sure," you laugh and you act like you're more intelligent with shit like that. That's what turns people off to you guys. I don't know if y'all understand that.
So
it's that whole attitude let me just educate you on this real quick.
So let me say something. So we've gotten this comment a few times. Number one, I don't think I'm that smart. I don't think I'm smart in any given person. Again, I think that like respect is earned, not given. And I get a little bit frustrated, and I think it's fair to get frustrated when you are coming up here so defiantly in support of somebody that you seem to know nothing about. And when we get to the point of when I start drawing lines, Like, I have great conversations with Trump supporters, but when I'm like, hey, do you support this comment about sexual abuse? And you're like avoiding the question, that's when I start to get angry. That's when I start to lose respect, right? And I'm not trying to be a dick. I don't think I know more than you inherently. I'm just, maybe I shouldn't have chuckled in that particular moment, but I'm not trying to be a know-it-all. I get frustrated when you are you are voting and you, I don't know, want to act naive to some of these issues.
It's not that I'm acting naive. It's the fact that I'm on a live with you and Harry, right? So I'm already in a situation where I'm having to basically explain things to both of y'all, and y'all are both bringing. The minute I say something, you're like pause. You bring something up, and then you're basically like laughing about it. And like let me let you in on a little secret. Like I'm missing something here. I'm not missing the fact that life is harder after. At the tail end of Biden and Harris, than it was under Trump.
I know.
That's the fact that I'm getting at.
And that's fine. I understand. Like, I get that.
And that's not just me. I hope y'all do understand that.
Dude, I'm a human being too. Like, you can ask Harry right now. In fucking 2022, Harry was paying for my plane flights to get places. I would fly to do content somewhere, and I would buy a one-way ticket because I didn't have enough money to come back, right? I fucking get it. It's just I'm not so emotionally inept. I'm not so logically inept in life that when I see high prices for my car, I go, oh my God, it must be the president. I think a little bit fucking deeper than that.
Yeah,
be quiet, please. I think a little bit fucking deeper than that.
You're not going to tell me. You're not going to tell me to be quiet. I've been letting you speak the entire time. You're the one that's stopping me.
All right. The point being is that I understand things have been harder, especially in 2021, 2022, getting into 2023. I'm arguing cause and effect. So when we start talking, I asked, what are Donald Trump's economic plans for a second term? You started to go into what I assume to be, we need to drill more oil. I'm saying, well, he's lying to you when he says that because we're drilling more oil than ever before in human history. I mean, the spigots are turned all the way up. There's no way that Donald Trump could increase oil production that much that would make that much of a difference. That's all I was trying to say. It's a nice day out, man. How cold is it in New York?
It's nice. It's like a solid 60 today. It was like nice walking around.
It's been hot here, man. I ain't gonna cap.
Yeah.
Been hot here.
So like
yesterday was like 87 in the middle of fucking October. All right, are you still here, man?
Like, what do you do for fun?
Chat, dude, this always makes me feel bad. Like, I'm not trying to be mean. Maybe at certain points, like Doug. Okay, Doug, I asked if his wife had a boyfriend. That was probably too mean. That was probably a step too far.
That was crazy.
That was probably a step too far. And look, 11 days, 9 days, 10 days before an election, I'm fucking stressed and I'm frustrated and it's not okay. And I can admit when I say things that aren't appropriate to this guest in particular, there's probably been moments I've been a dick. I shouldn't do that. But chat, I get, oh my God, I start to just get frustrated. Maybe I gotta get out of my emotions.
I told Chris recently that a friend of mine's family, they watch like the live streams of me, of Chris, of Parker, of Dean. Like they tune into all of us, and they've said that they can notice that we're all very on edge.
Yeah,
like we're much more more like rude, or like, you know, we're like, it's easier to tick us off, you know, because of
100%.
Because of the proximity to the election.
It's bad. And Chad, I apologize, guest. I do apologize if dude,
you don't gotta. You really weren't that mean, bro. You gotta stop.
Well,
stop
listen, Harry, when they go low, we go high, brother. Like, again, if Doug's gonna be 40 years old acting like a child, the least I can do is be a more mature 22-year-old and say, you know what, Doug? I shouldn't have said, does your wife have a boyfriend? I should have. That is not genuinely that. Oh my God. Genuinely that is not an appropriate thing to say. And as a 22-year-old, I can recognize that, and I shouldn't have said it, and I apologize. Like, genuinely, it was not. I shouldn't be laughing. It's not okay. It's not okay.
Does your wife have a boyfriend? that she
just make me so angry.
Your comment was wife. Does your wife have a boyfriend because you're so insufferable? Like she doesn't like spending time with you. She goes sees him instead.
Dude, I'm so it's just like, dude, like Doug is literally sitting. I asked Doug a question. I don't even remember what it was. I was like, something Biden Harris. He was like, there's a pause, and then he's like, yeah, Biden Harris, and he's fucking 40 years old, and I'm just like, Doug, do you have a wife? He said, yeah, she hears everything I say. I say, okay, does she have a boyfriend on the side that she can go to? Because I'm like, dude, what are you doing right now? Like, oh my goodness.
Dude, that was a crazy thing to say. Dude, I can't even hold you. That was a crazy thing to say, bro.
It was not great. It was not my finest moment. I've had better moments.
That's okay, man. That's okay. I mean, I don't think it was like, thank you, JW. I don't think it was like, it was obviously a joke. Like, you weren't being serious. Unless you have some insider information about.
I mean, Doug's wife would probably find me. Actually, I shouldn't say that. I should not say it. I'm kidding, Chad. I'm kidding. Chad, I'm kidding. Chad. I'm kidding.
Wow,
I'm kidding. I would never do that.
Roll tonight, man.
Yo, are you here, man? We're feeling better.
Yeah. I think I'm muted. I think I muted myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We got off on the wrong foot, man. Let's try again.
Nah, bro. Let's just wrap this conversation up, bro. I think we've exercised it.
Yeah, I should go walk on. I should go like lift or something. You're gonna go on the Peloton?
No, I'm gonna go for a drive.
Oh, I thought you said you were gonna go walk. Okay, yeah, I should go. Oh, hey, listen, everybody in chat, I love you. Thanks for all the support, JW. You're incredible. I love all of you. Seriously, you guys give me some good laughs. And guest above me, I do apologize for being rude. A little on edge right now. Appreciate you a lot. All right, you guys be safe. Harry, thanks for the good conversation.
Yeah, man. All right, brother. You have a good one. All right, guys. Well, you can come back another time and have a further conversation. All right.
All right, Harry. Sounds good. Before I go, is your pussy as red as your cheeks?
How old are you?
27. I told you that.
You're 27. You're making a joke like that? You have like a girlfriend or something? Oh, he's sleeping right now. It's really coward crap right there. That was a crazy thing to say, by the way, on a TikTok live in front of 3,000 people. After you get dog walked in a debate, that's crazy. And somebody in the chat said that's not even funny. Like, yeah, it wasn't even like a funny comment. Like, if he said something funny that was satirical, I would have given him props. But that was kind of gross, to be honest. But anyway, I digress. Elise, thank you for the $1 saying Snapchat recap tonight will be crazy. Damn right. By the way, he's leaving right now because he's running away. Megan, thank you for the $10. OMG, also for your guess. What is so bad if SA is the most important issue? As a rape victim, that is my moral line. I would never vote for someone accused by 26 plus women of that. Stop acting like it's not important. Exactly, Megan. It's an incredibly important issue, regardless of freaks like that saying it's not. Kelly, think of the $10. Not to be rude, but tell this guest to go kick rocks with open-toed sandals. I don't think it's a bad idea, Kelly. Don't think it's a bad idea. Megan, again, with another $15. Accused by 26 women, held civilly liable, brags about essay on audio, degrades women, never apologizes. As a rape victim, it disgusts me this election. Is it all close? And I hate hearing people try to defend that. Thank you, Harry and Chris, for what you do. Megan, I appreciate that. And thank you for being here. And thank you for supporting the live. It means a lot. Sophia, thank you for the $2. And NYC, go to Northeastern. I won't read the message out in its entirety, but I got you. Caden, thank you for the $5. Tony, thank you for the $5 saying thanks for all you do. I appreciate you. Karen with the $1 saying DNC payment. I appreciate that. That's how we do it, ladies and gentlemen. Sky Daddy, former MAGA and Wow. Turning Point USA rep, now voting blue. Thank you. Interesting. Former Turning Point USA rep. That's kind of interesting. That's quite the turnaround. I appreciate you doing that. And thank you for the $5 and letting me know about that. That's like Turning Point USA is a super conservative organization. So to like be a part of Turning Point USA and then vote for Democrat is like, we love a good transition, a good development. We love that. Amelia, thank you for the $10. Difference between serving and sitting in office. I appreciate you, Amelia. I appreciate all of that, guys. All right, everybody. I'm going to wrap up the live there. We're going to call it for the night. I appreciate you guys being here, tuning into the live. Thank you so much for being here. As always, we're 10 days away from the election, or I guess I should say now more like 9. So I keep working hard, keep doing your part, and hopefully we prevail. So make sure to follow on TikTok, also follow on Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. All of those links are in my bio. I would appreciate if you go follow on all of those things. All those different platforms means a lot if you do so. And definitely Snapchat. I do a nightly recap of the live stream on Snapchat. I do craziest / funniest moment of the live. So if you want to go check that out on Snapchat, that'd be great. Snapchat, link in bio, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all that good stuff. Check it out if you'd be so kind. And finally, everybody, guys, have a great day tomorrow. It's a Sunday tomorrow. So watch some Sunday football, enjoy, see some people you love, see some people you care about, tell them you love them, tell you care about them. And I think we'll leave it there. So everybody go raid. Who do we got? Who's live right now? We have Isaiah's live and Parker is live. So go raid Parker Get a Job or Isaiah R. Martin. They're both live. They're both doing TikTok debates right now. Parker Get a Job, Isaiah R. Martin. They're both live. Go raid them. Go raid them. Go tell them that you care about them. Go tell them that you appreciate the work that they're doing and that we appreciate the work that they're doing. It's a team effort, everybody. So go tell them that we appreciate them. Go raid Parker Get a Job and Isaiah R. Martin. And when you raid them, say Harry Raid, Harry Raid, Harry Raid. Let them know that we sent you. Let them know that you came from here. Let them know all of that good stuff. All right. Go talk to them. Go let them know. Go watch their stream. They're doing debates and you'll enjoy. All right, everybody. I appreciate you guys. Have a great rest of your night. We will talk soon. All right, everybody. I appreciate you all.